to the best of 5 stage down here in the lower bracket, and it is going to be a banger matchup between SYN Eternal Season and Lotus to figure out who is going to be able to reprise their performance as a top 6 team, make it to that best of 5 stage, and continue to compete for ACL glory. My name's Gordo. I'm joined by TDS on the cast tonight. I'm back from vacation. Hope everybody enjoyed the stream yesterday. Shout out to Yanni for taking my spot. And let's get into the games already, TDS. It's a hot one today.
Yeah, it should be an exciting one. It came through after after a couple of reschedules, but it's going to be an exciting one either way. Funnily enough, the day that you missed, which was yesterday, obviously, because last week we didn't have anything, was the SYN Eternal Season against Deathmark Napoleon match. So we actually got a taste out of one of these two teams already before. And then Lotus also played on the Southline. So quote unquote, both of these teams were streamed yesterday. So their most recent match is out there. That being said, I'm pretty sure the clear favorite here is Lotus. NACL OQ bound to the promotion tournament, now here in the top 8 of the ACL playoffs, looking with a really strong roster, looking to try and just keep on showing off as much as possible. It feels like they want to keep running these gauntlets as much as possible because they also did come from the lower bracket in the NACL OQs and now going to try and replicate that here.
Absolutely. And with that, let's introduce our two teams here tonight. Do have Lotus, I assume, is the first one, starting off on blue side, if I'm not mistaken. Will be TC Porsche, Chad, Robbie Bob, that is Reptile in the bottom lane, and Clarice from top to bottom. Been highly seeded from the very start, just barely missing that pool 1 team status after Papa Chonks moved over to the roster, and they've made good on that promise pretty much the whole way through, making quick work of teams like Prosperity and Milk in their brackets so far.
Yeah, they're a team that has obviously a lot of names that are quite known, quite a strong roster in general. Only difference really to the NACL OQ's roster, it's the AD carry. It's not Reptile playing there, it's Chrome. But either way, I think it's a strong enough AD carry to really show up here. I feel like similar in a lot of things, different in a couple of specific details, I would argue, particularly in laning phase, that really make up the difference for the both of them. But the other 4 members have been stepping it up, have been playing really well. I think the top side has been playing really nicely, particularly in the OQs. And then Clarice is a funny player because I feel like he plays like a fire. Like he's either really strong and burns everything in his way, or he gets burned in the process.
Yeah, definitely see that as well. And coming up against their opponents here, who are going to be Syndicate Eternal Season, the rookie upstarts, perhaps one of the youngest teams that we have in this OQ. It is top lane 101, Munchie, Season of Leaves, Daption, and All Calamity. I, of course, mean ACL and not OQ there, and am excited to see this team as they look to, for many of these players, make their first deep ACL playoffs run. Top lane 101, playing in his first ACL period, Season of Leaves, Daption, never been able to make super deep runs as starters here in ACL, and Munchie and All Calamity both looking to improve on a previous success.
Yeah, exactly. Trying their best here to keep on showing he wanted to play the game, went against Burdick really effectively, consistent ganking, not at all being a problem for the team in any manner. So really looking forward to this jungle matchup, Munchie against Chad, because it can really define a lot of how the series goes.
Yeah, and a little grudge match between former Next Level Esports teammates, All Calamity and Robbie Bob, making top 6 together in spring 2025 ACL on that Next Level Esports team. And now today, only one of them can at least match their performance from last split. Winner will get top 6 once again. Loser will have to settle for top 8. Let's find out whether it's going to be the veteran or the upcomer here in a Robbie Bob versus All Calamity is a little bit of a side story here.
Yeah, going to be the matchup between the new and the old, quote unquote old, because they're different. The years difference 1 or 2 years.
You can call them new and old, I think, in this case for the likes of Lotus. These guys have been in and around so much competitive, in and around so many
Yeah.
ACLs, right? Like Chad, former champion here, Robbie Bob, Porsche. These guys have been making deep runs for a very long time. Reptile coming from across the pond, but he's been at this for a couple of years as well at the tier 2 level.
Yeah.
And Clarit's a name that we have always heard whispered of, but haven't gotten to see it comp too much until recent splits. He's had a lot of starting or a lot of substitute spots on NACL teams historically, but hasn't really played in the OQs or the NACL itself very much at all. So we'll see how he continues to do as he's, as you said, competing in that promotion tournament as well as competing here in ACL. Bans coming on across. That luck's going to stay permabanned against Season of Leaves. Been a great month overall for kind of this classification of players, however you would group Seasonal
Yeah.
Leaves, Samakin, Cupic, all these guys who play, you know, Lux and Zoe and
The weird
Morgana and
stuff, some would
Seraphine.
say.
Like that champion pool, those guys are all in their own little clan, and all of them have been having tremendous success over the course of the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's been great watching those of meta champions. Well, you weren't here yesterday. We actually got a second game matchup of Zoe against Kale. I would leave you to think who played Kale and who played Zoe and how that went. It wasn't pretty, but it was a fun experience. I would argue it was enjoyable to see. Now, the Unara is something that is not necessarily new. Well, she is new, but it's not new to see her being picked or banned really consistently. And it seems like Reptile wants to keep on playing the champion, understandably so. But that does leave open quite a few of the stronger champions. I'm not sure what happened here. Maybe it's a Disco Noon or something like that. Trundle is available. We know that there is also the possibility of the new Xinjiao as well. Potentially, the Rumble obviously always coming in strong. So there's a couple of options here and there that you can opt into for the first two picks.
Yeah, we're going to get word on that missed pick here before too long. Hovering Rumble, our Eternal Season. They will lock that one in, presumably for top lane 101. Not seeing too much Rumble in the jungle these days. Still no word on what the missed pick is. Surely the teams must have shared it by now, but I do think, I'm guessing in-client chat is broken. In-client chat's been pretty broken
Of course.
for a while now. So
what has not been broken in this game?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they removed the need for spectate delay, which we're still going to use anyway, and in doing so have broken a lot of the lobby features. So SYN Orianna coming through for Lotus. I assure you all, Lotus know what this pick is, even though we are not given such a luxury. We'll see if we can narrow down what it's supposed to be. Mel, a champion in that pool that I forgot to list off, but still a valid member of the group all the same, will be locked on in. That's going to be for Seasonal Leaves at mid lane.
And following up on talking about yesterday, it was one of the champions that they banned away in the second game against Season of Leaves. Now it's actually picked here, and it looks like it's Corki, the missing pick here. Understandably so, one of the stronger 80 carries right now on the meta. So we pretty much have an idea of what both of these teams want to try and play around with, although Lotus is already setting up for a really strong teamfight composition. Inara, Orianna, SYN just screams front-to-back teamfight comp that you want to play for at around the 1.5 2 item mark. As the next round events come through, probably going to see a little bit of focus towards the jungle pool, although Jack's also getting threatened here.
Yeah, Jack's a big pick for Munchie so far this season, so I actually do think that is still a jungle focus coming on through. And yeah, like you brought up, really comfortable picks for both mid laners so far here. The one I'm surprised that we haven't seen at all is the Rise. That has been a massive pick for Robbie Bob, all ACL split long. I still think there's opportunity to see it as the series goes on, but the most comfortable pick for Seasonal Leaves here, perhaps aside from the Lux, that remains permabanned. I do believe by my maths, in Eternal Season have played 25 games so far this ACL. Lux has been banned in 20 of them. And picked by Seasonal Leaves in 2. I assume Fearless Stout in the other 3. I'm going to take a wild guess. So, Mel has been left as his main champion, and it has been very good for him. There's been 5 selections of Mel for Seasonal Leaves so far, and Nami going to be the final ban, trying to pinch the pool of All Calamity just a little bit. Trundle going to get snapped up for Munchie.
Surprising that with a Corki, it's Nami and not trying to go for things like the Rakan or maybe something like the Nautilus that are more like locked down to allow for the Corki to go for the poke or straight up damage. So surprising that that doesn't end up being the case. But now with the remaining picks here, with the SYN already, you can kind of go for just an Enchanter support to buff up this Yunara, and it looks like that's going to be the case with the Lulu. Milio could also be an option, but Lulu gives you more like straight up damage for the Yunara particularly. And you can kind of go for the Xinjiao here if you want to go for it in this situation, although the Trundle Xinjiao matchup, I kind of, if I'm not wrong, I think people prefer playing the Trundle side of that matchup, so could be something that they opt against. But there's not necessarily a ton of options. Well, the buy, not necessarily a bad one with a point-and-click ultimate value.
Yeah, definitely going to be a valuable pick, especially facing off against the Mel and the Rumble. Already got some good targeted movement. A lot of good options to go in on here for the Lotus jungler, the Corki as well, which is what that invisible pick is for us. So the Vi going to get locked in by Lotus, and they now have a very good engage combo coming on through the 1-2-3 between Vi, Orianna, and SYN. Now SYN Eternal Season looking for what they're probably... What are we missing? We're missing top lane. Nope, we've got Rumble. We're missing support. You are muted, TDS, but you are correct that we are missing support.
Yeah, it's support.
Yeah, and Bard, woo, coming on through with the
Not
last
a bad
for
choice.
All Calamity, getting a little spicy with it. This will be his third Bard game this season.
Yeah, not a bad choice. A lot of poke damage. Obviously, the setup that you have with the Tempered Fate always great. You also have the Bard Portal to reset up for the Trundle in case you want to go for off the wall ganks coming in on the side, things like that as well. And then also, I like the potential setup with the Tempered Fate because you have Tempered Fate into Equalizer into Root by Mel as well, and then you can get the execute potential off of the Mel thanks to that. So there's a lot of playmaking that Season can go for here if they are able to play with the Bard effectively. Now, Lotus composition, it's a little bit more straightforward, right? It's it's straightforward front to back damage team fighting, and it's all on the side being the frontliner buffed up by Yunara and Orianna buffed up by this Lulu, and then the buy on the side trying to get the picks onto the carries. But it's pretty straightforward how they want to play this, and maybe just trying to have Reptile play the easiest style possible of composition, knowing that he's playing with pink and trying to allow for him to have an easier time as well.
Yeah, I mean, Reptile's been a big fan of the Yunara ever since it's come out here, so
yeah,
not a surprise to see him snapping that one up as an early priority. A lot of teams prioritizing that Yunara very, very highly since it's been released. And a strong pairing for it alongside the Lulu from Clarice, who's been somebody with a very flexible champion pool, been willing to go towards the enchanter side of things a lot more than many supports that we have seen. So should be a powerful duo for them in lane. Instead, just going to be trying to leave this Corki on an island, it seems like, our Eternal Season, as they do lock that last pick Bard, try to roam around and create some opportunities in the other lanes.
So, just want to quickly mention, because I just got the news. Yeah, it's not Reptile. It's apparently Sagewabe.
Oh, Sagewabe in over Reptile today. So not going to be playing on the ping. And Vi is not Vi.
It's not Vi. What does that mean? Wait.
It means
so it's not Vi pick?
We're going to find out, I guess, once we get into the in-client draft. The fact that we cannot see the chat in the lobby, really a killer this time around.
This changes
really,
so much.
Yeah, really makes this stuff pretty difficult, Riot Games. Maybe let's make sure the client works before we push these updates. Now, we'll find out what those last few pick, or what I guess just the Vi pick is going to end up being. Well, if it's not Vi for Lotus and Jarvan Nocturne are banned away, I mean...
It's already there, Gordo.
Oh, what is it? It's
Quack should be happy.
What?
Yeah. I don't know about that. Not gonna lie. I'm surprised that they opted into the... If it's Kha'Zix,
should actually... I don't
yeah, I feel like Vi probably works out better, but then let's think the rationale behind the Vi, right? Like, killing targets, you have a lot of lockdown already on your side, so technically you can jump onto the backline and maybe just assassinate what is remaining, kind of thing. But the problem with this is that now your engage is essentially SYN. That's like kind of the main worry that Lotus will have now, because there's no way you can engage with a Kha'Zix like ever.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the Scion. Okay. You still have the Scion, so it's not completely cooked as far as your engage opportunities go. I really would have liked to have that duo with the Orianna, though, just to try to get plays started onto this Eternal Season backline.
Well, you can technically do the same with the Kha'Zix, right? Like, you go invisible, jump in, ulti, get killed in the process, but you kind of did the shockwave, the shockwave thingy.
Yeah, but the
So
fact that the Vi stays alive, I think, is pretty core of a difference there. You know, can build the Sterix gauge, can build the Sundered Sky, get a little bit more survivability. The Kazakhs will not be doing that.
yeah, true. Maybe this is something that we need to ask to an actual expert. Like, what does Quacks think about the
Yeah,
Trundle
Quacks,
Kha'Zix
are you in
matchup?
chat? Yeah, share some thoughts. No,
If Quacks is near anywhere,
if I recall,
close
he's
to us,
eating
please.
before his own cast that starts in about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So he will not be here right now to weigh in. Stealth with Orianna ult is a combo. I do have a lot of love for Stealth plus Orianna ult, particularly the
That's
Shaco
useful.
is the classic duo. But you could do it with Orianna as well. Having an invisible target to put the ball on
Yeah.
does mean that you can go and get some surprise ultimates here and there. If somebody isn't paying very close attention to where the Orianna ball is, a little bit of a Nico
They
minion
usually aren't.
situation there. If you come into lane and you go, oh, my lucky day, Orianna has no ball, it's probably on Kazakhs and on top of you. So a little bit of an awareness check that's going to come through for the Eternal Season squad this game, but nowhere near as reliable as the Vi.
Yeah, it's much easier when you're able to pull off a point and click ulti. Like, this is also the reason why it's easy to pull off with the Nocturne as well. Like, it's a point and click ultimate technically, so that's why it's easy to get on top of someone with the ultimate. But now that you're going to be having to play around the fact that the Kha'Zix has to jump in, if it's on the Kha'Zix, because technically it could also just go to the SYN and you just ulti in with the SYN and get the ultimate going, it's going to be difficult to make the most value out of it. Either way, it's going to be funny seeing it work out. If it works out, right?
Yeah, if you're ever going to get any Stealth Orianna ult combos off, it's going to be a party, and it's going to be a joy to see, but the reliability feels like it is going to be the problem here. I wonder if this is some anti-Trundle tech. If Chad feels like it's a good matchup up against the Trundle, I could see that turning things a little bit and meaning that you do not necessarily want any of those, you know, traditional junglers that do struggle in the 1v1 matchups against Trundle, right? That's the issue. You brought it up with the Xin Zhao. It's true for the Vi. It's true for the Pantheon, even though that was banned away. A lot of these champions, that you just don't want to run into Trundle in a dark alley. It makes life really hard for you.
Yeah, in general, it's something that you probably are not going to be wanting to play against it as much, but that's also something that can end up just not working out if for some. So for example, like the Kha'Zix gets extremely ahead, right? If he gets like 1 or 2 random kills, it kind of goes out of the window just because of how the champion usually is.
Yeah, Chad definitely will have an opportunity to snowball this game here, and that has been something we've seen from him before. I recall a monstrous Volibear game from Chad earlier this season.
True.
Where he was pretty 1v9. Gonna hope to reprise that performance here with the early Kazakhs pick. But this is going to be a first time for him as well. Has not shown us this pick so far today. And funny enough, the same is going to be true for Munchie on the Trundle. He has not been a Trundle guy throughout this season. But now that its late game's a little bit nerfed, time to chow down and get yourself of that Troll King. We'll find out which of these two junglers making their champion debuts for the ACL season could come out on top and start their team on the right path to getting to top 6.
One of the funny things though about like these two champion compositions from both sides is that bar the Rumble, the Sion, and I would argue the Orianna and the 80 carries, like not a lot of the meta champions are just fielded away. Mel is not a meta champion, so it's not like it affects your pool. Same for the Kha'Zix. The Trundle to a certain degree, yes, but you're expecting it to get banned. So there's just still so many options to actually come through in the next few games. And because both teams have players that are willing to play around with the pools, like they're not bothered at all by the meta or anything related to that, it could just end up being really random champions being picked all around.
Yeah, it really can. It's one of those things that we've talked about a lot as it relates to the OQ with Cupic, right? Who has been having a hell of a tournament and is already showing that going to be a strong contender in the promotion tournament itself with Zenshi Gaming. So these guys have a little bit of a different pool than a lot of the traditional mid laners here, but they will dip back over to those traditional mid laners as necessary, right? Seasonal Leaves has the Talia in his back pocket. He's pulled out the Victor, the Azir, these sorts of picks when the scenario calls for it and when his champion pool gets pinched. But the lots of training there around these kind of just snare into AoE damage spell champions, whether it be the Mel or the Lux or the Morgana or the Seraphine, even the Hui. All of these picks really, really dangerous and really change how you have to prep against a team like this. Whereas Robbie Bob, he's coming in with the more traditional mid lane pool.
Yeah, it's the more frequented one, the one that you tend to typically see. But there's been matchups that have just been decided by how unusual some of these picks end up being and how little prep you have against them. So you end up having or playing around it differently in a worse manner than you usually do. So I'm interested in seeing how Robbie Bob will end up going with it and how much value he'll be able to find in this situation. Same for Season of Leaves. And also, if we're going to get more Season of Leaves champs going forward, like I think he played yesterday really well with some of those champions. Particularly the Wei was the one that ended up coming like first, not necessarily an off meta champion, but it's one that is not as like typical or frequent. So that could be something that you see more focus from the side of Season of Leaves, and then Robbie Bob just opting into the more typical champion pool. Oh, Claritz.
Yeah, Claritz a little caught out here. The stun connects from Calamity. The Ignite comes through before the heal, and first blood to Daption. Claritz dances around too long and is punished.
Yeah, really good stun there by Calamity and not respecting it enough. Claritz ends up paying the price with their life. It's going to be heal as well blown, so heal for Ignite, but the first blood going to the Corki. Only good thing is the fact that you're technically not going to be suffering from that early first blood just yet, because the Corki is not going to back off immediately, but it's still such an important thing to have in your favor, and especially someone like Daption that yesterday performed so well in their matchup. Today, going against someone like Sagewabe, having that advantage was going to be important.
Certainly was, and we do see a little bit of what I assume to be vertical jungling going on here. Chad started on Munchie's red side, but I do believe was spotted by that ward on the ramp. So Munchie knows this is going on and is likely just going to migrate straight down and take Chad's red side right back. We'll see if some kind of response to this can be manifested, but Claritz's early death probably makes that very difficult. They're going to find themselves pushed in for a long time, and Daption and Calamity are not going to let up.
Yeah, they are not going to allow for a lot of space. They are not going to allow for a lot of opportunity in that situation. That just means that you just have to be extra careful about how you're going to try and play this. It may take them quite a while before we actually see the Yunara be of value, really.
Yeah, Robbie Bob, though, having a lot of success in this one-on-one with Season of Leaves.
May die.
He's just dead. But Robbie's all over him. A solo kill to Robbie Bob. But top lane 101 looking to trade back on the opposite side, going to flash after the decimating smash, and will snipe him down with a harpoon. A kill back to Eternal Season.
Solo laners. Oh,
fighting each other inside the red jungle. Chad recalled, went right back here, wanted the fight with Trundle, and he will get it.
I swear I saw Chad jumping over the wall to try and follow for the kill there. That being said, respecting it a little bit, it's fine. It is flash down now for Munchie, so even if Chad wants to go for a future fight where he goes into the jungle and tries and gets a kill onto Munchie, that can be doable. The only problem is the response that the team can provide for him, right? And right now, technically speaking, both side lanes are losing. The only one that is really winning is Robbie Bob in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Munchie did successfully secure that red buff, I'm fairly sure. And that will make it tough. Oh my god, Daption just takes Claritz out in bot lane. 2 versus 2 straight up. And it will be more gold into the pockets of Daption, as well as that feat of strength. Well done to the Season bot lane. They continue to push up, and Munchie continues to get invaded on top lane 101, low on health, but Porsche tanking turret aggro should stop this from coming on through. They're going to try to cash out onto Chad. Don't get the knockup. Porsche is going to tank the aggro. Well juggled by Lotus, and they will get away with the kill.
Yeah, really good at the end. They are able to get it really effortlessly, and in that way they are able to at the very least find some value comparatively. So it's all in the bot side. It's all in the bot side for Season, all in the upper side or top side of the map for the side of Lotus. We need to see who is going to end up getting stronger, who is going to find the better value out of everything.
Yeah, it is. Chad still trying to be a nuisance, trying to be a thorn in the side of Munchie. We keep getting distracted by all this champion combat, but all in all, the result has been a solid lead to Chad. He's got far more camps to farm up here. That CS lead will start to manifest here as he clears towards bot lane. And of course, he did get that kill topside. SYN having such a good time in the 2 versus 2 that it does do quite a bit to offset.
Yeah, going to now try and find a little bit of value after how it ended up going. Even though both bot lanes ended up trading, I don't think we're going to see Lotus trying to fight it. Oh wait, finding a little bit onto SYN, not going to turn too much, but just trying to follow up. I don't think we're going to see Lotus, bot lane particularly, trying to go and fight for the grubs if there's ever a chance for it. So more than likely, we're just going to see them trading places, but the objectives should be should be for the side of SYN, and in the top side of the map should still be for them as well.
SYN pushed back in the 2 versus 1. Gonna have to get used to that life if this Bard is gonna be wandering around to pick up his chimes, but this is also the lane where they feel strongest. You gotta believe that Calamity feeling that tension a little bit of wanting to get out and make use of his champion, but also wanting to maintain this lead he's built up alongside with SYN off these 2 kills onto Claritz. For now, pushed in. SYN a little low on health, gonna chow down on some of these Bard healing totems to get back up, and Calamity going to try to stop the recalls, make it so that they have got to keep on competing with this no mana Lulu for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable in that situation, but it should be something that they can try and manage it out. And so far, they are doing a decent enough job. Like, yes, SYN is 2-0, but the entire is staying up in farm, so as long as they can reach that late stage of the game, it should be good enough anyway.
Of course, crashing a big wave in this bottom lane. Top lane 101 gonna have to do his best to navigate these, pick up as many as possible to avoid going down. I think no problems here. Chad finds seasonal needs. Shockwave pulls him in, flash in from Chad, and the burst damage is too much. Lotus take down SYN for the 2nd time.
Absolutely no respect in that play. They see champion, they kill champion as Claritz trying to get a little bit of vision. Probably not going to end up getting killed here, but really good kill they were able to find there. And it's also a kill that they get onto Chad. So he's just getting more time, more opportunity to spike here. And it's something we were talking in draft. The Kha'Zix seems like a pick that probably in a vacuum works, but not necessarily as a team. Oh, the Grump reset.
101 has found level 5 Kha'Zix inside his jungle, throws down the equalizer, cuts him off.
Jungle is coming.
Reinforcements. I don't think Chad's going to be able to get out of this one. They know exactly where he is, and that kill gold goes to Rumble.
Yeah, that's probably a situation where if they had level 6 there, probably Chad can try and attempt a kill in that position. That being said, I think Grump reset a little bit of health there. And that's why at the end Chad wasn't able to kill it quickly enough, and top lane 101 was able to notice that Chad was in that position. Taking away a little bit of the huge value that Chad was gaining beforehand, but it's still something that they can try and play with just because of the fact that this is something that is kind of unexpected. Like the Kha'Zix shouldn't get this far ahead so early on. Something that will take a little bit more time before we see the full value of the Kha'Zix.
Yeah, and good responsiveness from Syndicate Eternal Season here to deal with this very aggressive game plan from the Kha'Zix. They have avoided giving up too much here, and they have successfully shut him down now a little bit. Damage return from Sagewabe, not ready for Munchie to show up. Pillar of Filth going to slow down for a little bit longer, but the return fire on Adaption might be too much. Both bot laners are low. Munchie can't guard them for much longer. Adaption trying to trade back, but Chad's over the wall, executes him, tastes his fear, and it's 2 kills going the way of Lotus for nothing responded. Make it 3 as a collapse occurs in mid lane, and a solo kill goes to Robbie Bob.
Yeah, talk about trying to make plays all around the map. You see a kill in the top lane or 2 kills in the top lane, then followed by a really good kill in the mid lane. They are really trying to just make SYN's life a living hell as Munchie comes in and steals one of the grubs. I don't think they can fight this. Calamity's here, teleport coming.
Munchie doesn't have flash. We'll just subjugate Claritz straight up. Calamity finds Chad. Knows that he cannot get away in time. And top lane 101 does get a lot of alone time on this bottom side to try to equalize the gold. And this might be a full grubs going the way of Syndicate, as there's nobody here to respond. Chad's death means that this will go over in totality.
Yeah, there was no respect in terms of the timing that they could have gone for a fight in that position. And after getting really good kills, they were already reasoning on the mid lane and also on the top lane. Sagewabi was already going down to the bot side before they actually attempted anything. So yeah, oh, Sagewabi's dead.
Dancing forward, top lane 101.
Oof.
Another solo kill to him. And an impressive laning performance from top lane 101 as he continues to get the better of whoever they put up against him.
Yeah, it really feels like the game is kind of going to fall on the back of Robbie Bob just having great shockwaves and then Chad kind of deleting whoever is remaining, because all around the map, it's just straight up better advantages that the side of SYN gets. Like, it's dying again for no reason at all.
Very well done there by Daption. And as you said, Clarice just up a little too far with no paddle. Will end up drowning for it as more gold goes the way of Eternal Season. And they continue to keep this Corki strong and ahead while Bard has impact on the map at the same time.
Yeah, it's just making it really difficult for the side of Lotus to find something else to do when they are this strong. In the process, because of that control they get in the bot lane and also in the mid lane, it's going to be another dragon going into the way of SYN. And even though it may not end up being one of the better souls, because it's still yet to see if it's Cloud or anything like that, it's going to be Ocean, so not a bad choice of soul at the end. They now have 2 dragons that they can try and play for, and if they don't get the next one, it's not going to be the end of the world because of their advantage.
It's also their third objective, so that gives over feats of warfare to Syndicate. So they've navigated this early game well, despite Lotus being the ones pushing the pace, playing the aggressive jungler, doing all the invading. It has been Syndicate that find themselves with more on the backside, just through performances in lane. The 2v2 has gone their way, the 1v1 top has gone their way. Robbie Bob has been having a very strong performance in mid lane, don't get me wrong, but all in all has been enough to offset.
Funnily enough, though, even with those leads, they really want to kill top lane 101. There's no equalizer.
Turret shots are coming through, though, and they are getting amped up. Chad gonna get pushed back away. The red buff burn, not enough to make him take turret aggro. But that's a big show there from Chad and gives this opportunity for Eternal Season to make a return play on the bottom side. Munchie just going to walk up here and say, this turret is
just
right
take
for the taking. We've got full 3 grubs. This turret is ours.
It should be just an instantaneous turret taking, and it's going to turn into that as we see a little bit of fighting once again. SYN just dead.
Robbie Bob has his lead and is maintaining it, gets himself a solo kill. Sagewabi gonna be able to hunt down Munchie.
Daption has some
Calamity trying to win this. Sagewabi and Clarice throwing down for the 2 versus 3 and coming out on top. It is a double kill to Sagewabi. Meanwhile, the regank on the top lane 101. He's overconfident after outplaying the dive, and 4 members of Eternal Season are off the map.
And not gonna lie, I was hearing Tyler One screaming on the back of my head with that bot lane to be 3, because Daption had no mana at all for that fight. And for a champion like Corki that is dependent on having his cooldowns up and being able to throw a lot of damage out of it, there was no damage follow-up. Chad, it should be fine here.
Just barely missing the Cosmic Binding. I think that's going to be the difference that gets Chad out of here. If he does get out of here, another Q from Calamity.
Chad.
Isolated damage from Chad is significant, and Robbie will finish the job. And somehow Chad getting found in the jungle turns back into a kill for Lotus. The burst of this Kha'Zix needs to be respected.
Yeah, that shouldn't have worked out that well, but it's just a continuation of what happened before. They did so much damage in the mid lane with Robbie Bob having so much of a lead in there, and then in the top lane, because of taking away top lane's 101 lead that they had beforehand, it's just working out so well for them. Sagewabi more than half the health bar of Daption.
Yeah, good turn damage onto Clarice, though. They're going to try to slow him up, keep him in place, look for the execute. The Eclipse, and Seasonal Leaves will get themselves on the board. They execute Clarice after stacking up that sunlight.
Finally execute Bobby coming in clutch as Chad may be getting collapsed in here. He is by himself for now until the SYN regroups with him, but it is an attempt at fighting a little bit for the Scar Crab. The control of the game really feels like it could go either way. I think Lotus does have the damage profile to just be able to kill anyone in the map with most of their champions, but it's not like the control is Daption.
Yeah, and there's Jaption going to try to take this one-on-one. Flashes away.
Oh,
there's
no
the
way.
Tempered Fate, and Munchie is waiting with open arms to claim this shutdown. Sagewabe will fall.
Yeah, but once again, stepping up too far forward there, and then ends up dying there in that position, Sagewabe. Also, they take down the mid lane turret in the process, which is not necessarily a bad thing, as Robbie Bob may die for the first time here.
Yeah, equalizer thrown down by top lane 101. Robbie pick himself up another solo kill, but the flash after for top lane 101 will give over 700 plus shutdown gold to this Rumble. Well played by Robbie to get the return kill. Porsche going to cross map for the tower. Lotus will maintain their lead for now, but these shutdowns, they are giving income back into Eternal Season's pockets.
Yeah, it was a 2k gold lead before. Now with that kill onto Robbie Bob, it's back to just a little bit over a 1k gold lead. And really the difference is now going to be on what they can accomplish with their objective control and for the objectives, as the dragon is going to spawn in 20 seconds. And who gets first, they're probably going to dictate a lot of how that matchup goes or how the dragon goes. As they're looking for it, there's more vision control for this side of season, but Lotus should be having the upper hand there.
And those stacks from Season of Leaves showing why this champion can be powerful from the mid lane there in these kind of extended brawls, and against a team comp or as a team comp that can extend those brawls if they are able to kite backwards, if they are able to keep the Trundle in the front line and try to create some space between them and the attacking Lotus team. It's really going to come down to whether these fights are long or short, it feels, based on how these fights have been playing out. The TP in from top lane 101 going to get called out, spotted by Lotus, and down goes Rumble. Top lane 101 TP's up too far, too aggressive, and Lotus punish in turn.
Being in a place where they can just get collapsed on really quickly, and just like that, what was looking like a potential dragon fight just immediately turns into a dragon take for the side of Lotus. They're going to be able to close out on this dragon, and now it's SYN trying to respond in any meaningful way, but the mid lane turret is way too healthy for them to be able to attempt anything on it. Yep, they're going to just disengage, and nothing is going to be obtained in that position. Maybe Herald, actually.
Yeah, they should have gone right up to Herald if they wanted to take it, because now Lotus is going to be able to get over here and respond. Unstoppable Onslaught channeled by Porsche, blocked by the pillar. And it should halt the engage right then and there. But Season of Leaves and the rest of Eternal Season don't want to give this one up for free. They're still looking to find some harass. They're still looking to find a potential angle for a steal as top lane 101 is coming back in. Tempered Fate going to connect on Robbie Bob. They're going to be able to chain the CC on top of him and get a lot of damage off of the equalizer. Robbie tries to escape, but he's torched by top lane 101. 2 kills to Season, 1 to top lane, 3 for 0. Syndicate will take this Herald.
Perfect fight there, and it's really the value of being able to set up onto Robbie Bob so effortlessly. And there's something we were talking about in draft as well. If they can lock down multiple members, or at the very least a member in a perfect spot in that position, they can just execute them really effectively. They had a lot of long range damage in that position, and it just works out really, really well for them. Robbie Bob ends up dying once again, not even shockwave thrown out in that position. They also kill Chad really quickly. A squishy jungler is going to be burned alive really quickly in that position as well, and that just means that now they do get a little bit of gold back on the side of SYN. They even get the Herald, and the game is really close now, back to even practically.
Back and forths here, and that's not the first time this game where we've seen Lotus successfully execute a fight and then overreach for an extra objective, which gives Eternal Season the opportunity to clap back. We need to see more discipline from the veteran team if they're going to be walking away with the win here tonight, because Eternal Season have had excellent laning phase performances, and the furthest set behind member of their team, Season of Leaves, is cashing out in these team fights.
Yeah, there really needs to be something else that they can try and go for there that doesn't end up falling like that, because the only thing that is happening is that they are giving back some of the leads that they were getting really comfortably previously. So now for the continuation, we need to see what the next fights are going to fall into, if it's going to be for objectives for the turrets, or if it's going to be for the monsters, the dragons, or the Atakan, which probably will end up happening. Like, more times than less, we see people just fighting for the Atakan costs.
Yeah, the rare topside Otacon coming through this time. There's been constant fighting around there. Top lane 101 getting a little bit of credit for that one, as well as the fight over the Grubs that certainly broke out. they are going to need to both group up around this side now. It's still 2 minutes to go until the next dragon, so not much else to play for. So far, the river belongs to Lotus, and when they've gotten to set up like this, Lotus has been able to find victories.
Yeah, as long as they get a good enough amount of time for themselves to locate their champions. Oh, there was an attempt there. That was scary.
Yeah. Looking to set up the same combo they got Robbie with last point. Doesn't connect, but Claritz will catch himself. Is going to have to escape. All Calamity not going to be able to chase him down. Season leaves up at the front line, finding some good shots, but slowed up by the Void Spikes. Flashes away from the Shockwave. Multiple major abilities blown in that fight, but now SYN Eternal Season feel like they can keep the fight going. Rift Herald is thrown down, Equalizer thrown into the bush, doesn't connect on anybody. Claritz trying to escape, but he has to go through the Equalizer. Golden Eclipse executes another, and Chad will fall. SYN Eternal Season pick off 2 in their extended chase, and this Otacon looks to be theirs.
Yeah, it really looks like they should be able to get this as they find a better team fight there, and I'm not really sure what Lotus is trying to look for with some of their positions in some of these fights, because realistically it's fine to try and force a fight, but the way that they are trying to look for it is just completely weird, as they are looking now to contest the Atacans.
TP double.
No
Porsche and Robbie are here. Such a big commitment to try to challenge this Otacon, but it will be smited down by Munchie, and this Scion is made of paper against the Trundle subjugate. Munchie popping off in the fight as he continues to chase down Robbie Bob. Sagewape taking poke and harass all day long as he attempts to approach from the bottom. And SYN Eternal Season will not repeat the mistakes of their elders. They secure the objective, win the fight, and are now turning back for another. Daption will advance forward. Robbie Bob is picked again. Chad flashing over to try to claim something back. And now it's his chance to punish Eternal Season. In for a double, blown up from there. More gold into Season of Leaves, and now it's Claritz who's got to get himself out of dodge. Back and forth for both teams, but it's Eternal Season winning in every front.
And call me crazy, but I'm not sure if it's actually worth to go for some of those plays, because at the end of the day, it's just getting more gold for Season of Leaves, like you're mentioning. He's just getting so much gold back without really having to do anything. And also Daption, oh wait,
Season of Leaves is going to be able to solo kill this, I'm pretty sure.
No execute though.
Doesn't have Golden Eclipse, so won't be able to do it. More harassment there. I was laughing earlier. Claritz was trying to interrupt Munchie's recall, but couldn't even break the shield.
Yeah, to nobody's surprise, not able to actually do anything meaningful there. And because of all that craziness, we forgot that Dragon just spawned. It's so point for a season, and they have so many ultimate, or a lot of value right now. There is flash and Daption. There is no flashes though on top lane 101 and on Munchie, but they are trying to attempt to fight it here. There is Tempered Fate available.
And what a stalwart game from Season of Leaves here. Starting off 0-4, now 6-4 on this Mel, tanking a rough laning phase where he was solo killed multiple times, and now showing up in the later stages as the team back in the lead, and is now raining hell on this Lotus squad as they try to get through this ramp. They will finally push their way through, most of the damage being absorbed by Porsche. But still, that is a less than half health frontliner you've got now. Chad a little picked away. They're going to throw down the Equalizer. Not going to get too much out of it. Came out as well. And this might be Lotus's chance to come back. Well, the objective is on. Ocean Drake will be smited away by Munchie. And down goes Chad for the opportunity. Porsche tries to fight, but he's too low already and will fall down as well. Syndicate Eternal Season. They get their dragon and they get their fight.
Yeah, it turns out that the Kha'Zix is becoming a little bit useless because he doesn't get any chance to actually jump into the backline. He just gets collapsed and committed and killed. And then Robbie Buck, for all the lead that he had, he's just simply not strong enough. His ultimate is not able to get on top of the important members. And then Sagewabe never able to actually deal auto attack damage, because as soon as top lane 101 moves forward, he just kills the Yunara so effortlessly. It's such a good game for Season after the 15-minute mark, and it's like they got complete control back after just getting a couple of shutdowns here and there. A mistake that maybe Lotus will now lament consistently after how it happened.
Yeah, and that may have been not their last effort. They're now down only 2K, but certainly a loss of the snowball that Lotus had going their way for a while. They were winning these engagements, but they just can't take an L. They keep challenging for more and more in disadvantageous situations, and they are not able to outplay. Syndicate Eternal Season are showing up, and they are challenging them blow for blow, and they come out on top for what feels like the third or fourth time in a row.
Yeah, for a couple of times now, it just feels like the control of the game, everything that the game has been going for has just been completely in favor of the side of SYN, and it's how they want to try and close it out, how it's going to end up going through with
chat
it.
right now.
Yeah, they just can't.
Hiding. And
but they are trying to find the right opportunity. I'm not sure which one it will be, but they are trying it.
Yeah, it seems like the game plan now is we know SYN Eternal Season are going to be up on this top side. We're going to try to punish. They find top lane 101, or at least they think they do. But Munchie and Calamity are here just as quickly. Tempered Fate with non-bow on top of Equalizer, but it's going to expire first, and they'll burn all the same. 3-0 Syndicate Eternal Season. Left without backup yet again. And this map belongs to Season.
Like, in all this happening, Sagiwav is just pushing mid. Like, they are trying to make something happen, and it's not really them, the ones that are committing to the play, but they are setting everything up whilst your AD carry is pushing mid lane. And that is a big disconnect. That can never happen. You cannot force a play and then wait for the enemy team to just blindly wait without anything happening. Like, they have the tools to force plays in their way, and also knowing that your AD carry is completely far away from the play, they can just decide to commit. This was one of the better opportunities also for the Yunara to actually get out attacking potential, and because she's not there, she's just simply going to be completely ineffective.
That is now a 10 kill gold lead and a 6k gold lead over to a 10 kill 6k is the lead. Syndicate Eternal Season still find themselves in a dominant position. Coming into a fight for Dragon Soul, 90 seconds or so. They will be able to secure themselves Ocean. See what Lotus can do to challenge this. Once again, setting up in a bush, trying to punish somebody walking in. But when that somebody is Munchie, actually gets too dangerous and they get pushed away with ease.
Yeah, it's just really easy for them to push them away. As another attempt at Tempered Fate, they really want to force something like that to end up working out, but even with Tempered Fate down now, they still are going to keep on having that threat from the Mel, from the Trundle as well with the Pillar to try and just get someone locked down. It has to be really careful here. So squishy, really easy to kill, and also like Calamity actually moves really fast, like extremely fast when you look at when he picks up the Meeps.
Really good start for Calamity here, or more than start to the series, that is. He's been able to have so much impact over the course of the rest of the map. And Dap's been able to find success even without him. They juggled the strain between performing well in lane and trying to get out of the map with the Bard near perfectly. And it made so many plays into winning situations, so many great combos with top lane. Get these ultis across effectively. Syndicate Eternal Season find themselves in the driver's seat, pushing with this Baron in towards mid lane.
They have all the tools. They are waiting on the side as well. Tempered Fate close to coming back up, but they probably won't need it if they just commit over here.
Starting to focus on towards Porsche. There's the decimating smash coming on across. The root will
SYN is
find
dead.
him, and they are able to finish him very quickly. Calamity coming in on the side. Tempered Fate not going to be able to connect. A 3-man shockwave from Robbie Bob will buy space for the rest of Lotus, but their health bars are low, and this Baron is still up and ticking. Mid lane turret gonna fall, and this inhibitor will join it. SYN Eternal Season, they don't need the kills to call this fight a victory. They're going to be able to get 2 of these, if not more. Porsche still down for 20 seconds, and they're not stopping.
They're going to respect it. They are not going to try and go for the end, which I think it makes a lot of sense. But it's really just, that's supposed to be the tank, and the tank is getting completely melted immediately. That's going to be Soul now, and the timings for Lotus are going to disappear, are just going to keep on disappearing. There's not going to be enough opportunities to actually make this work out for them. And now we'll just have to wait and see what the Hail Mary play for the side of Lotus is, because Season has everything in their favor, and they don't really need to overly commit for anything.
Yeah, they definitely do not. There will be a push away now from Lotus, trying to get themselves a little bit of breathing room. able to potentially contend for the next Baron, but it's going to be desperation moves from here on out. The opportunities are going to remain limited.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough to try and stop it, and it's not looking like they're going to find a lot of opportunities either. It's a small margin. It's a really small margin that they can play with. Technically speaking, you do have an Orianna. One shockwave destroys everyone if it's put in the right place. Although, gotta admit, I don't like the build from Robbie Bob here. Feel like he's lacking damage. Try and blow up people.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, at the time he was super far ahead is when he finished that Leandries, and his income's kind of been stifled since then.
Yeah.
I think getting a little bit of execute damage, not a bad idea. It's cheaper to go Shadow Flame than it is to go Rabadons, but still going to be, you know, difficult to solo carry on this. They need to get Sagewabe into a good fighting position, but SYN have done such a good job of working through Porsche and being able to win out these fights front to back.
Yeah, that's also one of the problems that we were actually talking about in draft as well with the composition from Lotus that ended up affecting, or has been affecting them so far. The lack of really just a straightforward engage, right? Because, Shockwave?
On to 2,
Not enough.
but Seasonal Leaves, you know, he pops the rebuttal, he goes invulnerable for a second there. They don't get the lasting damage onto him that they wanted. Daption is chunked to half. He's going to take a recall. So are all of Syndicate Eternal Seasons. So they're going to say, we don't need to play riskily here. We got hit by a shockwave. Well played, Robbie. It's on to both carries. We're going to reset and try again.
Good shot. We'll try again next time. Doesn't really matter. But like one of the things that I wanted to bring up with it, even though the shockwave was great, was that the problem with their composition right now is that they don't have a really straightforward way that is super effective to engage. Because SYN ultimate, for as much that was a really close pillar to try and connect onto chat. For as much as the SYN ultimate is useful to just go in a lot of ways, it can also get stopped really easily by the pillar. It can just get completely denied just by the fact that Munchie just presses ulti and gets on top of you. And because it's just a forward way of going, you may never really reach the back lane. Where when we were talking about engage tools, something like the Vi felt much better because you pressed R and you were going to get on top of the carries one way or the other, right? And that lack of just straight up engage onto the carries is really costing the side of Lotus a lot this game.
Oh. Pushed back though.
Chad.
Fate comes out, doesn't connect onto Chad, but the poke damage from
Chad may be dead.
does. Root will find its way on a portion. Once again, the frontliner isolated. No engage opportunity for Lotus. They lose Porsche, and now for about 40 seconds, they're going to have no front line.
Yeah, they're not having a fun and they're getting engaged.
Is thrown down. Over the wall comes All Calamity. They're dead. Shockwave onto 3, but Robbie doesn't have the backup. Sagewabe's on the opposite side, fighting it out up against top lane 101. All Calamity's fallen down. Blast Cone gonna create a little bit more space for safety, but Munchie's still chasing. Daption is still on the flank. Slows from the Otacon do contribute to this fight as down goes Clarice. The cutoff from Munchie and Daption.
Oh no,
looking for Sagewabe, hugging the wall. Gonna get cut off by a pillar, can't even last that long. SYN Eternal Season take another 4-for-1 fight, and that's it for game number 1, TDS. Well played start to finish.
Yeah, they just simply don't have the tools to try and answer back, and it's SYN closing out that first game really, really well. It started weird because SYN had a slight advantage with an early first blood, and then we go back and then Robbie Bob is getting a kill as well. Then a kill happens on the top side. It was a lot of tit for tat going with a lot of solo kills and kills all over the map. But then the game kind of went into the control of Lotus really effectively. But after a certain point, teamfights just started going the way of SYN. They got their leads much better. They were locking down Robbie Bob really effectively. And then shutdowns also came through. And then the lead just started going the way of SYN and it never stopped.
Yeah, it definitely did. And I mean, I think the word of the game for SYN Eternal Season is discipline. They did so well here. First of all, by Seasonal Leaves individually, to not get discouraged, to not just continue to chain feed through the game after going down 0-4 to start things off. And additionally, it's Lotus constantly overreaching, looking to get one more objective, one more play when they do not have the justification to do so. Eternal Season punish, and they don't make the same mistake right back. They don't fall into the hype. They don't get carried away by the chaos of the game. They continue to recall when necessary. They continue to give up objectives when appropriate, but they take their correct angles and they win out.
Yeah, exactly. They just found the right tools to really go for the fights, and they are making them work out really effectively. And that's really what matters, is the way that they are not only finding the right tools in the right ways, but just maximizing the value in a really good way, and also playing off of the weird things that they go for, right? Because a lot of this game ended up being off of the back of what can Mel do to not only come back into the game but be of value. And the setup that they had with the Mel, going with the Tempered Fate, locking people down so that you can get the easy execute with the Mel, was just really well done. And knowing that there's a lot of squishies, and yes, the tank can be of value, but then you have a lot of true damage as well, just worked out really marvelously to just deny the composition from Lotus effectively.
Definitely. And that SYN Eternal Season find themselves up 1-0 over the veterans here. I think Lotus come in today as clear favorites. They're already in the promotion tournament, even with Sagewabe in the lineup.
Yep.
Some would argue maybe even a better setup here is he doesn't have to play on ping, but mistakes that are not related to mechanical skill or ping, what cost Lotus game number 1. And going to be a big question coming into game number 2 is I was really impressed by Top Lane 101 as well, performing very well in lane up against Porsche, who has been such a stalwart force for Lotus throughout the entire season.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game 2 in seeing how Lotus is going to try and respond back. There's still like a lot of ways for them to win, and it's still one of the rosters that we have a lot of like hype just because of how strong we know they can be. But to give the credit to the side of SYN, right? They've just played that game off so well.
They definitely did, and they now find themselves with an opportunity to make top 6 here off one more win. Keep our eyes on Lotus and whether or not they'll be able to turn this back around, find themselves a more favorable game scenario, and to take SYN Eternal Season to a game number 3. We're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get ready for the next draft. But first things first, I do want to give a shout out to Zen Market. Zen Market is your one-stop solution for buying products directly from Japan. They'll help you buy items from over 10,000 shops, as well as place bids on auctions on your behalf. And they'll even consolidate all your items safely into one box and can ship internationally. They provide excellent customer service in 19 languages, which is why Zen Market is trusted by over 2 million users worldwide. Check out the panel below the stream or click the link in chat to try them out now. If you sign up with promo code Aegis, you'll get 1,000 yen off your first Welcome back, everybody, to today's broadcast of the ACL, where SYN Eternal Season find themselves up 1-0 over Lotus. Lotus going to move over to red side here as they look to fight their way back into this series. And we'll see if that is going to be the secret for them. Robbie Bob getting targeted with the Azir, take away Nico and Varus as well, keeping to what most of these bans have looked like.
Yeah, pretty straightforward, pretty comfortable in what they do. Now, the main thing, though, is that Lotus banning away the Senna this time around, so taking a hit onto the AD carry pool, same with potentially banning away the Bearer. So it's not the Bearers, attacking the pool from Robbie Bob, like you were mentioning, with that Azir and the Rise as well. So now Robbie Bob probably going to go for something more typical, something like the Syndrome, maybe, if he wants to play for one of the mages, or he could still go for something like the Yoni, a potential playmaker that gives him a lot of power, and one of Robbie's, I would say, one of the better champions that Robbie Bob really likes to play in the mid lane.
Yeah, is going to see what he's going to end up going for with that Rise taken off the board. We'll find out here.
It's just going to be waiting now and see what the option to for the first pick, but there's still a couple of champions that are strong enough in the first pick. You can technically go for Wen here if you really value the champion, although Barris is not banned away, Wukong is not banned away either, Pantheon is not either. So Munchie did play the Pantheon as way before. Surprised that he didn't go for it. Instead, it's going to be the Barris for adaption, and not a bad pick to start it off, as well as the Jhin, Hubbard, potentially to answer it back, and every other jungler is still available. The Pantheon, the Wukong, the Xin Zhao is still available, like we were mentioning, and probably the Wukong is going to be the choice.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Lotus is going to snap on up the Jhin Wukong SYN Eternal Season now with their pick of the litter in regards towards that mid lane. See if they want to try to pick another selection away from Robbie Bob, if this is going to be their opportunity to go for another high prio Season of Leaves champion like that Hui that you brought up. The Varus going to be already selected here by Daption, has been banned against him pretty consistently, and there goes the Pantheon, which has been a favorite of Munchie's all season long.
Maybe it's a Zoe angle here. They have the Barris, they have the poke already there, so maybe it's for Season of Leaves Zoe to come through. But the way also, if you want poke and a little bit more of a consistent meta champion, the way feels more in the right avenue here. The Rakan, though, not a bad choice, like the engage potential, obviously also can pair really nicely with the Barris in the lane, so not a bad choice to really opt into. And now Lotus could potentially answer back with their own support, something a little bit more with a little bit more lockdown, like the Alistar could end up coming through. And with the Jhin particularly, I'm expecting to see either Alistar or the Leona really to end up coming through here, as Victor more than likely the choice.
Yeah, we'll find out if that will be the selection. It has been a Robbie Bob favorite all season long. Going to get locked on in here. Will be taking that immobile mage one way or the other, even with two banned away from him. Robbie still stalwart in his champion pool, and an opportunity to pin away more champs from Season of Leaves. Looks like that Morgana might be first on the list, and I think that's a great choice when you're facing down Wukong on the other side. You do not want to have to deal with the or when you have a Wukong in your team, you do not want to have to deal with the Morgana.
Yeah, going to be something that they have to be extra careful about dealing with, and it's now going to be something that they have to try and look for, because it's going to be difficult knowing what the rest of the options are going to be. And it looks like Nautilus getting banned away, maybe something as well with the Alistar also as options.
Yeah, going to be banning away some of those core supports away from the likes of Clarice, but he has got himself a pretty deep champion pool of plenty of options regardless. The Porsche Gwen may be something else that is going to be deemed necessary to take away, as it appears we have a lost TDS there. It's okay, we'll cover things up while we wait for him to get on back. Another support ban seems likely for SYN Eternal Season here. Try to limit the options that Lotus has available to pair on up with this Jhin. Going to be putting Sage Wabe in a little bit more of a supportive role this game. Chad going to certainly be helping out in the damage department, but you do expect to see another carry come through in the top lane for Porsche here. Maybe something like his Gangplank, which has been left up as he does lose access to the Ambessa. Still plenty of good top lane carries left for him, though. Gangplank seems like a very wise choice. They could try to go for some side laning and get something going like the Yorick as well, but it looks like they want to make sure that they have counter pick regardless of what it is going to be. So the Rel going to be the lock in here at support for Clarice. Now, Season Eternal Season, a chance to take a top lane and a mid lane for themselves, determine what these solo lanes are going to be. Could be something double flexy, but that is unlikely for Season of Leaves. Seems like he's going to be looking full team fight composition here with the Seraphine. The Rakan going to go quite well along with that. The double charm combos, if they are able to group everybody on Lotus together, and that will be snapped on up. Now top lane 101 with his selection of choice. I would expect to see something like a Renekton or a Cassante, something that's going to be safe blind. Both would be fine in this composition. Do find themselves a little bit low on magic damage. Seraphine going to have to carry in that department, but SYN Eternal Season don't seem to think that's an issue. They're going to take themselves the Cassante for the front line and for the additional team fighting power. Now hovering over onto Lotus's side. There's that gangplank from Porsche, and it feels like it could be a very powerful game for it indeed. Going to have a really strong side lane up against Cassante. Not going to have a lot of tools on the side of SYN Eternal Season to deal with it one-on-one, and will be able to scale up alongside this Victor to be a very powerful carry indeed. Well, you've got that kind of supportive Jhin coming on through. So Lotus round out their draft with the Pirate. And that will be our game number 2 draft. Locked and loaded. Lotus, with their season on the line, will put all their chips in on towards Porsche's gangplank. Robbie Bob on the Victor, hoping to reprise a strong laning phase that he had in the previous game. Hopefully carry this one all the way through. Munchie back on his incredibly comfortable Pantheon. This is his most played throughout the season, and we'll be looking to turn some heads in the early game, setting up these lanes for success. Particularly want to see him cover that mid lane, make sure that Robbie is not able to set Season of Leaves so far behind this time. It feels like in the previous game, Lotus making these sorts of mistakes, Lotus overreaching and giving kills back to Season of Leaves that they didn't have to, is the reason why SYN Eternal Season were able to bring themselves back in. You don't want to find yourself in that deficit a second game in a row, because you can't count on Lotus making the same mistake twice. These players have been in incredibly difficult situations before. They know how to adapt in real time to get themselves into a better situation. Going to have to see if they will be able to do that here tonight. But putting themselves on this level of comfort certainly seems like a good recipe to do so. Chad and Robbie and Porsche all very much in a comfortable position, be able to work their way through the rest of this draft. We'll find out if they're going to be able to perform up against Syndicate Eternal Season. We've got some comfort picks of their own. Both these supports really highly prioritizing the Rakan throughout the season. Season of Leaves, a big fan of this Seraphine as well. And of course, Munchie on the Pantheon. But will be a tough task to beat Lotus on some of their best champs. But if they can do it, they can keep their win streak in this lower bracket alive, move it up to 6-0, then they will get themselves a spot in top 6 and a guaranteed best of 5 here in the ACL before their journey is done. 2-0 against Mint, 2-0 against DMK, and now looking to see if they can 2-0 Lotus as well. Gonna throw it to a quick break here while we get these technical difficulties resolved, but we will be back in a few moments as SYN Eternal Season takes on Lotus. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to tonight's broadcast of the ACL, where SYN Eternal Season and Lotus are facing off. We're hoping to get TDS back here before too long. He's suffering from a power outage, so it will be just me for the time being. We're going to pop a Smithy this for a little while. Anybody who knows me wants to hop on for the cast, you know where my DMs are. In the meantime, we will cover the game as normal and as best as we can. Both teams going for the 5-man spread to start things off at level 1. Doesn't look like going to be too much action. Munchie pushing up to see if he can get some of that early vision down on the birds. Daption going to do the same in this tri-brush. We will see if we see any early invades from Chad in this game. He has seemed to have made a staple of his play in 2025. Sometimes to great success, sometimes not quite as much, but always entertaining and always looking to get inside the head of the opposing junglers, certainly giving them a lot of good results. It's lesser competition, a little more mix once things start to really heat up the later sections of the bracket. Laning phase will begin here. Both junglers starting on the top side, clearing towards the bottom. No level 1 invade at the very least this time. We'll see. So far, a little bit of advantage in the lane wave-wise been achieved by SYN Eternal Season. Dash and All Calamity. Looking to gear up to hit level 2 first. That's a nice crash down found by Claritz, though, and All Calamity will respond by blowing his flash. Daption used Ghost as well. They will get some trade back, but 2 summoners down for nothing. Quite the level 1 trade found by the Lotus bottom lane. Daption clearing things out as best as he can here. Will hit level 2 first. See if they can get a little bit of ground back with that faint advantage. Very curious to see how top lane 101 is able to handle this gangplank. A very solid Rumble performance from him in game number 1. But now the veteran on something far more comfortable and far more autonomous than the Scion. See if top lane 101 is going to be able to keep up the good performance. Grand Entrance connects onto Claritz, gets him down below 200 HP, but the damage from Sage Wabe is just too much. First blood secured off the first shot, and there's going to be a second off Deadly Flourish if necessary. A double kill to Sage Wabe, and Claritz will stay alive. Now getting back into the reset territory. We do have a little bit of a lead for top lane 101 here. Keeps things pushed on up. There will be Season of Leaves finding himself very low as well. Find out here how they're going to be able to perform. If they're going to be able to stay alive this time around up against Robbie Bob was a bit of a challenge in game number 1, but it's a little bit more sustained this time. We'll keep an eye. Welcome, Launches, to the cast. Hello.
Hello.
I don't think we've cast together before, but
I'm happy to be here. Fill in for the unfortunate demise of yes. So yeah, I'm looking at the game state right now in the draft. Seraphine mid lane is actually very interesting. Also with that Gangplank top lane as well. Don't usually see that too often here, but still looks to be, you know, very standard drafts. To be honest here, kind of interesting to see this bot lane duo. Has Zaya been picked or banned yet, or was that not able to be?
I don't believe so. Cryo on the Varus, just a little too high for Daption here. This top lane 101 finds Chad. Not really interested in falling back, though. He's got Munchie coming in at his back. Going to advance forward, finds the stun, but top lane 101 already taken so low. Flashes forward from Portion Chad, and feet of warfare to Lotus. They come out swinging in game number 2. Munchie trying to fight his way out of this. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish it, though. Comet Spear does have the execute damage, but the return fire might be too much. Misses the enhanced Comet Spear. Chad able to dip and dive out of here. He'll finally be finished off by Munchie as a fight breaks out in the bottom side. They're nearly going to be able to finish off All Calamity, but he will be able to dash back into the waiting arms of Daption. And Lotus with advantages across the board. Season getting a little bit back.
Yeah, that orange really did just save Porsche right there. Make sure you have the healing just in case of anything really happening. Had to blow the flash, but I think that's going to be pretty fine in this case. You know, you get yourself an assist at least. You're now starting to win the lane, got the shelf scene, so you're going to have that really good damage out here. Dragon has spawned now, so he's going to be able to get to be a fight around that if both junglers want to be looking for that, looking for the
Ooh, Clarit's coming in for the crash down. Gonna tank a turret shot there. Daption gonna get one right back. And all Calamity and Daption, they are not looking to stop their skills in the 2-on-2 so far. But Chad camping in the bush, trying to trade back onto Munchie. Seasonal Leaves is here for the backup. Will have to just settle for taking the birds. Chaos Storm thrown down by Robbie Bob in mid lane as well. Trying to push Season of Leaves out of here as quickly and efficiently as possible. Season of Leaves still not at level 6, at risk of getting taken down. Chad shows up, but it will be a 1-for-1 trade.
I mean, at least you get the assist right there for the victors. You get a little bit more gold out of that, but you know, you lose. You still had to use the Chaos Storm. It'll be back pretty quickly, even though it is just a level 1 right now. I mean, really good plays right there. No mana on Seraphine, really knowing. Ooh, the little skirmish right there in the bot lane. Supports just looking at each other and deciding, yeah, nah, it's completely fine. But also look at this bot lane. No mana for both ADCs, so not going to be doing too much. Rel really jumping in, trying to get anything. Stuns come in as well, but looks to be fine. Ooh, here comes the Pantheon ult though.
Looking a little desperate to get that wave underneath the turret, but here comes Munchie off the Grand Starfall, nearly able to finish off one, and the snipe from Daption will do it. Clarit's hits the dirt, and SYN Eternal Season are back tied up at 4-4. Look at Daption still farming on 10 HP. He has no fear of that deadly flourish. As Season of Leaves flash in for the encore, and down goes Sage Wabe. SYN Eternal Season tie it up.
Yeah, I mean, really good play right there, flashing to get guarantee the ultimate actually hitting, just because Sage stayed a little bit too long there, was able to punish that. Looking at the Varus, though, Daption just like, you know what, I'm gonna go for this one minion here. I need this wave, I need the gold. Most likely trying to finish off this Reddit Dirk, make sure you have enough, make sure you have the tier as well being built, just so you have, again, just so you can start stacking, have a little bit more damage, just because we are going that on hit damage here, just because look on the other side. Who do you really have for tank? Maybe the Rel, but she's a support. So being able to have that on hit, that
Chad,
not on hit, my bad. Ooh, I gotta careful. No ultimate, but I think you're fine for now.
She's at his back. Chaplain 101's going to keep on chasing this. Season of Leaves keeping Robbie Bob busy. Has to be careful to not get solo killed. Top lane 101 pops the all out. Chases down Chad and will pick up one. TC Porsche not looking much better for Where, as he will be taken down as well. Season of Leaves gives his life to keep Robbie Bob mid, but it is a 2-for-1 cross map going to Syndicate.
I mean, they're definitely feeling pretty good right now. 600 gold lead isn't too much, right? But it's still something you do want to be leaning on. You have that gold advantage, or you have the kill advantage as well. You have tempo, can start rotating for the grubs, with Pantheon is now doing. Your Dragon's still up as well, so you haven't lost that side lane pressure yet, or I guess the cross map I should say here. So you're still doing pretty well. H lane is winning, except actually I guess the mid lane is about even though Seraphine has the 1 kill, you still have that benefit in that gold lead, or in the CS lead for the victor. So not doing too bad overall for Syndicates here. And I think they'll be really happy to kind of push this lead, push these objectives, just to get those feats of warfare being built. Sorry, feats of warfare is already being built. Feats of strength, sorry, in that epic monster and in that first turret as well.
And now, SYN Eternal Season, after a rough start, fight their way back in, find themselves at about a 1K gold lead, and it's now in a better position for them than they were at in game number 1, where they still managed to fight their way back and get themselves a dub. Yeah, it's the kind of upstarts who are getting the better of the veterans over the course of this series and keeping up their lives in the lower bracket. Showing no signs of stopping, coming to playoffs as 14th seed, yet 5-0 already in this lower bracket run.
Yeah, I mean, definitely having that advantage, having that momentum is always really good. Oh, a little extra here as well.
There from Daption, getting a lot of return fire into Sage Wabe, managing to avoid the root for himself. There's Curtain Call opened up, though. All Calamity going to try to block as much as he can, but they got to dodge these in total, otherwise somebody's gonna fall. Sage Wabe gets his way out of All Calamity, but managing to stay alive is Daption, and now he's got the backup of Munchie underneath the turret for a killing spree. Makes sure that it is support for Marksman.
At least they do see where the Wukong is here. You're not going to be too scared of Chad being able to jump in. I think at this point, Daption definitely wants to be back. You really don't want to give over a kill right now to the Wukong. Get him even more fed. Get him that tripod early. Oh, sidesteps.
Daption continues to dodge everything in this extended interaction and makes sure that he can stay standing. All Calamity TP'd in off the spell book. to keep everything going, and he might be able to get a kill here. Clarit's forced out. SYN Eternal Season making the bot lane work in their favor, and Munchie showing why this Pantheon has been such a staple for SYN Eternal Season all season long. He starts off 3-0.
Yeah, definitely going to be very beneficial. I mean, Pantheon really has been very strong in the meta, right? Wukong as well, but you put a good Pantheon on that Pantheon, it's going to be devastating. This is the amount of utility he can bring. Oh, ultimate might come out here.
Yeah.
Doesn't commit it though.
If he can find it. Not quite this time. Porsche going to be able to create the distance, but All Calamity already popped quickness. Wants Sage Wabe. Cleanse already used. Knows that he's flashless. Connects the snare, and down goes Sage Wabe. Daption on a killing spree as he picks up his third on this lethality Varus. And Sage Wabe just can't get a word in edgewise.
Actually, really surprised Daption didn't want to use the Chains of Corruptions here. Had it available, saw the cleanse already from the Jhin. Maybe didn't know if he had flash or not, so didn't want to waste it. But he really wouldn't have needed that Pantheon flash to come in to guarantee the stun here. You know, I don't know if it was just a little bit misplay or just they wanting to save it for a later fight, but you know, did have to use the Pantheon flash for now, which means, you know, don't have to be too worried about the ultimate. You're not going to be able to have the ult flash in onto the stun here. Oh, actually,
Clarit's on the face check will be thoroughly punished. That's what the Chains of Corruption was held for. They get themselves another pick. And now Bungie's behind Sage Wabe. A wave's going to crash in here soon. If they juggle the aggro right, they can just take him down. He pops Curtain Call to try to clear out the wave. Daption's going to block Curtain Call to keep the wave alive. And as long as he keeps standing here, this dive is going to come on through. He's trying to hold the minions, trying to force them to take aggro, but the grubbies throw themselves in. They take a shot, and that's all that SYN Eternal Season needs to take down Sage Wabe.
I mean, the sidesteps right there from Daption, guaranteeing that you're not going to be giving over the kill to Sage just in case before that fight. And I actually thought it was going to be a little bit misplayed, being that how Calamity actually did take a turret shot before that. Maybe would have been a little bit too less health, but they juggled the aggro perfectly, guaranteeing the kill, putting that bot lane, you know, so far behind here. Yes, the gold is only about 700, but I mean, getting that first item onto Varus is so very important. Most likely going to be the Youmu's, get that movement speed, get that lethality just to try to one-shot anyone, because you can see you're having 30% Jhin just getting one tap by the Varus, and that's what you want to be seeing this entire game. You know, maybe we'll have a Gumayushi moment, steal the Baron, steal the Dragon in some of these cases. Can be, you know, very beneficial and kind of turn this game around, but actually mid lane
leaves in a bit of a compromising position and will force out the flash there. Well done by him, and will be more alone time for Robbie Bob. Oh, there's the solo kill. All right, Season, up a little too far there. Robbie's going to get his one way or the other.
Actually really good. The thing is, if they lose mid-turret, Lotus is going to be able to get the feats of strength here. I mean, if they did get the first 3 kills, so they got to be careful. Victor's taking below. Corruptions.
Yeah. Chains Corruption coming out onto Clarit's. Will chunk him for about half, but Chad is still here. Chad is Cyclone. The dive is not in the cards. The Lotus will successfully defend there, and there's that first turret and those feats of strength that you called out earlier. Munchie coming in with the Grand Starfall will not be able to chase down onto Robbie Bob off of a well-placed gravity well. And a nice move there by Robbie. Once again, he is the savior for Lotus here, and he pulls them up ahead in this early game. He's as ahead as they can be.
Yeah, they gotta be careful. I don't think they had vision on Chad just yet. He could have canceled the back and tried to jump in, has the Cyclone available, but they at least know, hey, we shouldn't push our advantage too much here. So looking into the Victor's inventory here, of course you see the items almost stacked, right? The Archangel staff almost getting that little passive right there, there it is. Gonna be able to have the extra survivability right now. You gotta be careful about bot lane for clears for Sage here. You don't want to be giving over a kill, because I mean, it's on hit. You try to stay on a turret, a single cube can really do so much damage. And just, you know, one tap you if you're not careful. You're getting really close, and Sage is gonna have to back right there, getting even more gold into the pocket of the Varus right now.
And All Calamity's not going to let him go. All Calamity gets in behind enemy lines, has the Ghost for a little bit of extra mobility.
Watch Porch though, gotta be careful.
Yeah, Porsche arrives and will be able to secure a recall for his bot lane, but now Robbie gonna get stunned up by top lane. Here's Season of Leaves for the backup. Has to create a little bit of space thanks to the Chaos Storm, but Munchie arrives as well, and Robbie Bob about to go down for the first time this game. That is not what you want to see as Lotus when you're counting on these solo laners to scale and carry you later. Another one goes down.
Yeah, gonna be a little unfortunate for Lotus, but I mean they're still doing fine. They have the feats of warfare or feats of strength. Or they have themselves the new shiny shoes. Get just a little bit of gold lead as well, you know, with those stats. But like on the other side, Syndicate's got all 3 grubs, got the dragon, has another one available in 45 seconds, can really start that drag stacking, and depending on what soul it could be game changing here, really pushing their lead even further forward, and you know, maybe guaranteeing themselves the Rift Herald, which they are actually going for right now.
Rift Herald to get started up here. Season of Leaves gonna have some alone time with this top lane turret. I think that's going down as well, and Lotus are just too slow. They're on the wrong side of the map for these plays. So both objectives go the way of SYN Eternal Season, and it's traded for a red buff. I mean, not what you were hoping for as the side of Lotus as SYN Eternal Season continue to pull themselves further ahead. And they're going to be back here in time for the Dragon Spawn. It's 5 seconds to go, but Munchie's got Grand Starfall. Season is redeploying with the Encore online. Top lane 101 holding bot lane just fine. They're set up to be able to tussle for this.
Actually, they not only got actually got Raptors as well, and actually they're getting Krugs right now as well. So I mean, they got a little gold, not really worth the Rift Herald, but you know, they got something. But with that Rift Herald now being spawned mid lane, they now have that pressure. Okay, do you want to lose your mid lane, or do you want to get drag here, or do you want to lose mid lane for drag, or are you going to be losing drag and save your mid lane turret? But they're going to be able to get this mid lane turret, and they're just going to rotate. Really good timing here. Ooh, Robbie do quite a lot of damage to top lane right now. With only that Iceborne Gauntlet, you don't have much magic resist on you. Lose that top turret as well, so it's a 1-for-1 trade, but they should be able to get themselves the dragon here, really starting that drag stacking and getting us the Cloud Soul. It's actually pretty good, especially for an immobile Seraphine and Varus.
Yeah, great with the Rakan as well. Lets you really get in there with the quickness and find that little bit of extra reach. But now will be a turret over to Porsche. Will just be opting to funnel money into the solo lanes in trade for that dragon. But you know, talking about the extended play here, still keeping all these members bottom lane, getting all of that bot side quadrant to the jungle, certainly not going to be worth what they've given up. They do end up trading turrets in the extended trade, I suppose, but mid lane falls to the Rift Herald that they were able to secure in that play. A faint gold lead to Lotus here, but very good play around the map from SYN Eternal Season to keep themselves ahead in objectives. They do have the ability to snap onto anybody for these quick plays. Eyes on how Lotus are going to try to parlay this faint gold lead into being able to make these solo lanes relevant enough to win them fights.
Yeah, I mean, their gold lead really is just on the Victor, on the Wukong, just in that CS lead that they have. That's their kind of their saving grace right there, hoping that they can really keep any item lead they have here. Of course, the Victor having 2 items doesn't have boots just yet. So, I mean, that's why Seraphine is a little bit behind, but she's still behind around, what, 400 or 500 gold at least, probably even more, being that you do have the kills and no deaths as well. I guess only a single death in that top lane for the Victor here. With that almost 200 CS, I mean, really is trophying right now. Gonna be having get one more lane. That's, you know, over 20. That's over 10 CS a minute. Really living up to the trophy name right there. There it is before 20 minutes. Gonna be very strong. No objectives on the map just yet. We do have Otacon in 20 seconds, so they could potentially go for that if they wanted to. Looking to be spawning in that bot lane, so rotate down. You have the TP available for Season as well if you do want to go for it. Take this bot lane, get the point, wave push, and should be a free Otacon. However, they don't know where chat is, so they don't want to be having just a random 5v5 fight and flipping it on an Otacon.
And Robbie Bob, once again, finding himself with a massive farm lead, getting funneled, and with the ball in his court, for trying to carry Lotus to a victory on this immobile mage. Made many top 6s in ACLs in the past, has been one of the most consistent and dangerous mid laners at the tier 3 level for years on end at this point. And he's going to have to clutch up once again here to pull Lotus back to this series. They find themselves disadvantaged, down 0-1 in an elimination match. They want to get another top 6 under their belt. It's going to be on Porsche and Robbie, and it's been Porsche and Robbie who need to make it happen for their squads before. Going to see if they can do it this time up against the upstart SYN Eternal Season roster. Sage Wabe, though, a little bit caught in rotation. Munchie coming around to the side alongside Al Calamity. Clarit's going to be able to stun up too. Create the space for Sage Wabe to flash away.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a choke point. Chad could do quite a bit here.
Deadly Flourish connects. Here comes the ultimate, and they will be able to take him out. Encore across the team. Not going to hold him down for long enough as Robbie takes out Season of Leaves. Clarit's and Porsche coming in on the flank. And SYN Eternal Season have overexerted themselves.
They need.
Too many members of Lotus all colliding at once. Oh, Calamity tries to flash away. Top lane 101 is cooked. But what can he make happen? Trying to trade onto TC Porsche, but 5 members will chase him down. Lotus with that quick 3-0.
When you got him in the choke point, then kind of split him up, you know, with that collapse, gets himself now the Otacon here, and that's good, the benefit they need. That's the fight they needed right now. Gonna go up around 2k gold at this point. Giving the kills over to Robbie is what you want to be seeing. You need this victory to be strong right now. And elsewhere on the map, you know, they have Dragon available. They're going to be able to get that ward advantage, the vision advantage around Drag, get themselves the first one, stop the drag stacking that will be coming out here if they don't take it right now. And they're not, but they still have time. It's still 34 seconds until the dragon spawns. They can try to run there, get another fight. But, you know, ultimates are down here. You know, not many sums on the side of Syndicate that would be beneficial, but still they have their ultimates available. They died pretty quickly, so they will have an advantage in this fight here. And really all they have to do is, as long as you can kill Robbie, that's kind of the win con right now. Here comes Chad
on this flank here. Munchie going to mark him, but now he's going to be the victim of the Cyclone. Trying to create a little bit of space here, but cut away from the rest of the team. Encore comes through, connects only onto Robbie Bob. Can they finish him off in time? He's just got too much health. Top lane 101 can't do it on his own. And Robbie's too quick with the phase run. There's the all out. Pulls him into the blue buff and executes him with the Pathmaker. Now he's deep behind enemy lines trying to fight his way out of here while the rest of the team collapses from the backside. Daption and Season both way too low. There's no frontliners left to back up top lane, and Sage Wabe will finish him off. Curtain call opened up, but will not find its marks. Season of Leaves and Daption, knowing that they're up against low HP targets, but they're outnumbered and outgunned, they will back on off.
I mean, there is another fight win for the side of Lotus. A 3-for-2 is what you want to be seeing. And even with Robbie dead, they weren't able to do too much. They were out of the fight right there, not able to join in top lane and actually for that fight here. The thing is, you still have that actually Daption's actually coming in, so of course you still have that smite potential right there. No, oh, here comes Grand Starfall as well. We're gonna have a 4v4 here. Change of corruption hits as well.
Yeah, there's Robbie Bob who just TP'd in, coming in for the bottom side. He's gonna make it to full 5. The smite is secured by Clarit's, and Lotus will get their first dragon of the game. Season of Leaves gonna fall down. No encore used, wasn't available, just came off cooldown, and now Robbie can run rampant through the fight. A double kill for him already, as 3 members of Lotus have sectioned off Munchie, and they'll take him down as well. A 4k gold lead to Lotus, and it keeps on growing as Robbie gets himself another on the Daption. Chaos Storm stuck behind him, and they'll continue to fire away on the top lane. Hiding underneath the turret, will they be able to hunt him down in time? It doesn't look like it, but that is a small prize back to Syndicate as Lotus get more time to work on these turrets and an even bigger gold lead to themselves.
Yeah, that's what they needed. They stopped the drag stack and give them even more time, and now that they're ahead, they just couldn't kill Wukong, right? Chad was able to stay alive. The spellbook from Rel saving the day, getting that 50-50 in their favor here, and just the blinking health bars on Lotus don't ever go to 0, able to keep fighting, and they will keep fighting here, trying to keep their tournament lives on the line, making sure that, hey, we're going to win this game. We're going to win the next one. We're going to stop the advantage Syndicate has, the momentum, and start building our own momentum here going through the lower playoffs. And with Baron being up, we might see a fight around it. I mean, if you are Lotus, you know I'm strong. I'm 3 items Victor right now. 2 items on everyone else. We're very strong. You have Gangplank as well to have that ultimate available. Look, and I mean, the only one that's really fed is that, I guess, Pantheon, who's kind of getting a little bit further behind now, and that Varus, who, as long as you can kill him, it's just like, while on the side of Lotus, you have the Victor, you try to kill Victor, well, they still have Jin, they still have Gangplank, but on the side of Syndicate, they have Varus. You kill Varus, ain't much else they can do.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of these mid lane Seraphines you'll see kind of going off support build. They'll go this Seraph's Embrace into some more supporty items, but Seasonal Leaves feels like he's the sole source of magic damage. He's got to get himself a little bit more oomph, which brings him to where we are now. And that means, though, that they don't have this kind of really sustained fighting style that you can sometimes get with these Seraphine compositions. And it makes it tough for them to win if they aren't able to really burst somebody out right off the bat with the combination of Seasonal Leaves and Daption. See if they're going to be able to create those scenarios for them soon, but a lot of their early lead has just been cut away. And Lotus now looking very strong with their scaled up solo laners.
Over the wall? No, looks like the clone didn't actually get over. He tried, didn't get the clone over the wall though. I mean, looking at Seraphine's inventory, I'm going to assume that's going to be Seraph's Embrace. So, I mean, you're going for a very supportive build here. You're not doing too much. I don't really think that's going to be Leandri's in this case here, even though you do want at least some damage. Maybe Luden's would have been a really great pickup here, trying to have, you know, even more kind of burstiness here, just because, you know, even though, yeah, the on-hit's pretty good for Varus, you know, you got Sterix already built for Wukong. He's pretty tanky right now. And trying to get through it, you know, maybe an on-hit would have been better. But, I mean, if you're too scared of, you know, Robbie one-tapping you, trying to get just a one-tap on him first is beneficial. Here comes
Wukong coming in on the flank, but the Encore connects onto 2. Porsche going to be able to cleanse it away with the oranges, and they're just going to work on a Chad. They get the first shutdown. Clarit's going to make it 2, but look at Robbie Bob. He's stayed safe, he's stayed healthy, and he is going to devour the rest of the members of Lotus. There's going to be 2 already falling on down for Syndicate. A double kill to Robbie Bob. 1 goes over to Porsche. 4 members of Syndicate fall. And Lotus have got a clear pathway into the base. This inhibitor is going to go down.
Yeah, get the inhibitor. Why not walk back to Baron here? You have the damage, you have the items. Robbie Bob just carrying this team on his back, and it's working. The Archangel staff having that shield, that survivability is so very strong, pretty much being the crown of old times here, making a living. Oh, that was the #1 item for every single mage in the game. I remember, you know, Silas building that as well, just to jump in. Why not here? And yeah, with the Giant Spell being built, that's going to be that Crystal Scepter being built for Seraphine. I just think that you're having no damage on this build, and I don't know if you have enough magic damage to really get to this team, or enough burst. And with only Daption really being main DPS, I don't think they can really actually delete Robbie Bob at all. And I think that it's kind of, I'm not going to be a cast curse to say over for Syndicate and that Lotus will win instantly. Gotta be careful. But as soon as this happens,
trying to outspace the Cyclone, won't be able to do it for long though. Seasonal Leaves is found by Chad and slowed up by the Cannon Barrage, the TC Porsche. That is 40 seconds, no Seraphine ultimate, and it will be Baron to Lotus. Daption and Munchie going to try to make a quick play to secure themselves soul point here. Whether or not they can last 5 more minutes, that is certainly going to be a lot more difficult.
Definitely here. That gets themselves the Baron. Yeah, a consolation prize. You get a turret and you get a dragon, putting yourself on soul point. But can you even last for another 5 minutes here? You've now lost your top turret. Could potentially lose your top inhibitor as well already. Yep, definitely will, especially with the cavalry already arriving now. And now they can really push that base. Actually change
Robbie Bob. He has to flash on away. Oh, Calamity going to pop the ultimate. Here comes Grand Starfall. Munchie executes Robbie Bob. And now it might be Clarice who's up too far as well. Daption trying to find some damage. Encore comes on across. Magnet Storm going to hold him down, but there is no follow-up yet for Lotus. 2 members go down in trade for all Calamity. And SYN Eternal Season at least stop the siege on their base. But I don't think there's anything left to take with Robbie Bob down.
Yeah, now that that's happened, yeah, you've now gotten rid of Baron buff on Robbie Bob. That's not too bad at all, giving a little bit of survivability or a little bit of safety net here. But you still have the Gangplank, still have the Wukong, both having that Baron push. They have it for another almost 2 minutes here, so gotta be careful. Cannot be giving away too many things. But at least because all you really have is just your bot turret remaining here, you're not going to be too afraid of any more Baron push. You get yourself a little bit more gold. It's still a 7k gold lead to the side of Lotus, but hey, you've now extended the game long enough. Who knows, you maybe can hit that 3.5 minute mark, try to go for the soul, and maybe hope that Robbie Bob walks up a little too far without vision, gets that 5-man collapse onto him, force that 5v4, and I think that they can win if they time it right and they don't use too many ultimates just trying to kill Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, getting on Robbie got to be a big part of the recipe. Chad is up very far here, though. They aren't able to keep the chain CC going, so he does manage to escape. That was a bold call, though, from Chad on the Wukong. And that is what cost Lotus game number 1, is overexerting themselves, going too deep, doubling down on plays when they did not have the tools to double down. See if a similar mistake can occur here. It seems like it'd be the only way for them to lose control at this stage.
And the question is, can they save? Oh, Cleanse comes out on the Sage. Sage does get low just because, you know, that is lethality. Bear is able to do quite a bit, but Robbie Bob's alive. Robbie Bob can do so much damage right now, and with those Baron empowered minions, they're going to be losing this bot turret here. A lot of ultimates come in as well.
Finds a little bit of slowing, finds some feedback coming in off of at Curtain Call, and they do knock down a couple of members' health bars. All Calamity get it back on away, and they get
Baron's
the third
gone
inhibitor.
In 12 seconds.
Yeah, Lotus looking to see if they can crack open the base here. The Baron is going to fall on away very, very soon. The triple inhibitor is an excellent secure for them, though. In SYN Eternal Season, they're just not seeing the lineup. They're not seeing the engage opportunity. So Lotus will likely back on away here. We'll see how long they want to keep this siege up with the Baron buff already gone. They can find an opportunity for a fight. They can end it right here. SYN Eternal Season are whittling their health bars down. Chad is down below half. Daption still finding poke as well. They can keep returning to the fountain to get members back up to full HP. They're going to pop the redemption to try to heal everybody up here. And they want this fight. They want to find Lotus overextended. They want to try to punish for all these inhibitors that have fallen down, but there is no clear path. They are dipping and diving in and out. Chad is regenning off of the jungle camps that he steals away. Mid inhibitor comes back, but will be attacked just as quickly. Can they find their moment to engage here? They cannot. Sage Wabe gets one more shot in. The minions, though, the aggro's been broken. They aren't finishing it off, and that was their opportunity. I don't think they're going to get another one.
I mean, yeah, I don't think so. Just because Gameplay's walking out.
Hey,
there it is.
Cannon Barrage is back. It gets used again. Same way as it did the first time.
Goes
wide. Robbie Bob able to dodge out on it. The phase rush paying off yet again. Chaos Storm knocking top lane one-on-one lower and lower. The first Nexus turret going to fall on down. Encore comes on across, only lands out of the Wukong clone. Munchie going to be able to execute Chad, but the Nexus turrets are not long for this world. Sage Wabe goes unstoppable. Robbie Bob able to kite back far enough to be able to stay alive. Porsche going to fill in for him while he takes a break in stasis as Lotus rampage through the fight. Top lane one-on-one, doing his best hero play, but he won't stop Porsche. He won't stop the minions, and Lotus will take us to game number 3.
I mean, Porsche right there, only dying right at the beginning of the game, and that's it. Surviving 5-1-11 here, but nah, the MVP gotta go to Robbie Bob, saving this entire game here. Only one to actually win this mid lane. And eventually bringing this entire game, win lane, win game, and setting them now to 1-1. Look at that gold graph there. One fight, and it all went to them here for 47k damage right now. All on him. You know, on the other side, Daption tried his best, but he can't really do much when you're getting one tap by the Victor. And that just brings us to 1-1, giving us, you know, a really great game 3. Both teams' tournament lives on the line in this next game.
Yeah, and Robbie Bob making a stand against this snare AoE focused champion pool coming in from Season of Leaves. It's been popularized by Samakin. It's been popularized by Cupic. It's been making a lot of successful waves across the tier 3 and tier 2 ecosystems as of late. But Robbie Bob says, no way, not against me. 2 lane dominant performances in a row. And this one, he is able to take all the way to the Nexus. A massive performance by Robbie Bob on the Victor, giving Lotus a lifeline and taking us to game number 3 launches.
I think game number 3 is going to be really good. Will the momentum stay for Syndicate? Can they, keep going in this lower bracket run, or will Lotus finally get their win here, move up, make sure Robbie Bot stays in that top 6 every single season here, and just continue that dominant performance he's had over, multiple seasons, multiple splits here. I mean, the Victor really is showing it, but he's got to do it one more time. And I'm assuming this is fearless. So, of course, once you use it, you lose it. You won't be seeing the Victor on the map. But, I mean, looking at the champions with Pantheon, Wukong's 2 very strong champions right here. And with the Rakan gone as well, you don't have that Xayah Rakan synergy that can really roll a lane pretty early.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we're going to throw it to a quick break here. We are going to have TDS back for game number 3, but thank you so much for filling in, launches. Appreciate it. And looking forward to more casts from you in the future. Like I said, going to get into champion select here before too long, but first things first, do want to shout out once again to Zen Market, your one-stop solution for buying products directly from Japan. Help you buy items from over 10,000 shops, as well as place bids on auctions on your behalf. They'll even consolidate all your items safely into one box and can ship internationally. They provide excellent customer service in over 19 languages, which is why they are trusted by over 2 million users worldwide. Check out the panel below the stream or click the link in chat to try them out now. If you sign up with promo code Aegis, you'll get 1,000 yen off your first international shipping fee. And if you use code Aegis25, you get 25% off your first purchase. In addition, Zen Market has leveled up the fan experience by giving one of you a chance to take home a Nintendo 64. Type ! giveaway in the chat and enter now for your chance to win. Thank you, Zen Market. And we will be right back for game number 3. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the ACL, where we are going to game number 3 between SYN Eternal Season and Lotus. Only one squad can make it to top 6. Only one can make it to those best of 5s. And it will be a full Fearless game number 3 that determines who could do it. TDS, you're back with us. Welcome back, my friend.
Yep. I'm considering trying to buy a power cell in the future because I do not think I'm going to last this power going out so frequently here. But it's fine. I'm back. Thankfully I'm going to be able to see the game 3, and I was able to catch game 2, and it did go as expected to a certain degree in a way that I didn't want it to go in that way. First of all, I hate so much the fact that we're still going poke Varus. I think attack speed Varus is the superior version. That being said, it's going to be a fun game 3 because there's a lot of champions already banned and already hitting quite a bit of the pool from Season of Lips, actually, because Seraphine out, Mel out, 2 mid lane bans out from the side of Lotus plus 2 mid lane bans out from the side of Season. It's going to be shrinking that pool that Season of Lips can try and go for here.
Yeah, it definitely will be. Very curious to see what the selection is going to end up being now, especially with some of these pools pinched so far. Lotus will end up locking in the Sivir. That's going to go for Sagewabe in the bottom lane. So putting the ball back in his court, saying that, hey, we're going to need one of these scaling carries, be able to get into this later game, and also still going to be able to help out the rest of the team with that on the hunt.
Yeah, the utility here is going to be really good, and having movement speed to boost up a lot of the other members is going to be really ideal. That being said, now for the side of Season, there's a lot of AD carries that they can still go for, as the Way was one of the main champions that we saw Season of Leaves playing yesterday, and now going to try and replicate that in this game. That being said, going blind is not necessarily the best choice, especially when you're going a champion like the Way that can get exploited quite effectively if he's just going consistently against him. So it's going to be interesting seeing how he's going to try and manage it out. And then for the remainder bot lanes, Seri is not a bad option. Lulu is out though, so it does mean that you're probably going to try and find another enchanter support to try and buffer up. Maybe the Milio could be the choice, but Lulu is always the most pristine support to take the Seri wave.
Yeah, Daption Zeri coming on through, and there's that Hui for Seasonal Leaves. Pick that you were calling out was very successful for SYN Eternal Season yesterday. They've now lost their perfect record in the lower bracket. They are 5-1 since falling down here. Will that disrupt the momentum enough to let Lotus take their spot in top 6? Syndra being hovered by Robbie Bob, a favorite of his.
Yep.
And one of the few mages left for him, and he will snap it up, seeing that he's against the Hui.
Yeah, the other choice would probably have been the Rise, but since it's short range, you probably don't want to play it that much against the Way. It could be a little bit too bothersome. So instead, the Syndra going to have a lot of potential wave clear, a lot of damage to burst out champions, and also her utility in the later stages of the game is really, really good. Now, for the remainder here, it could be a support pick or a jungle pick. Jungle pool, though, has been going down, so Xin Zhao looks to be one of the ones that jump up in priority. Same for this J4, which, if I'm not wrong, was banned in the previous game as well, so now finally taking it here. And lockdown for the side of Lotus is going to be really, really good, especially against the Way.
Yeah, great engage here. Chad back on something that he's very, very comfortable on in the form of the Jarvan. Seasonal Leaves on the Hui, man. Listen, he's not a lane dominant player. It's not a lane dominant champion, but we do need to see a little bit more firming up in the laning department. We can't be giving up more solo kills to Robbie Bob if SYN Eternal Season is going to be able to get themselves to the top 6. That's going to be the challenge here. Standing tall against one of the best mid laners in tier 3. It's Seasonal Leaves' job in this game number 3. Ambessa locked in for top lane 101. Has been incredibly impressive today.
Yeah.
A fantastic Rumble in game number 1. A strong Cassante in game number 2 as well, giving some extra lifelines to the team. Now on the Ambessa, a pick that has been consistently banned against him. See how he's going to be able to do against whatever Porsche has. They're going to be able to ban away some of Porsche's counter pick options as well. Try to pinch the pool even further. I expect a Gwen ban to join this Renekton.
Yeah, would be the most ideal thing to try and go for, and look at that, already trying to pinch that pool. Also, just quickly want to mention, it's not Jarvan, it's apparently Vi. So,
bro.
Yeah.
Okay, Jarvan is Vi.
Oh,
they can't
because Vi was fucked in the first game. That's understandable. Okay. That being said, so does that mean that Season cannot take Jarvan now because it's baked by Lotus?
They would have to take something else as a placeholder.
And then say it's Jarvan. Okay.
Yes,
makes
which
sense.
they can do. Yeah, which they can do. Oh boy. Well, we will see what the final selection is going to be. It is going to be the Alistair ban, trying to
Oh,
limit. Well,
they have to
Calamity
take Kha'Zix.
Oh yeah, you know, you're
to close
right.
out the cycle,
they
of
would take
course.
Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is Jarvan. Jarvan is Vi. Vi is Kha'Zix.
Completed. Well,
Zed
that's not a Kha'Zix
jungle!
though. That's not a
Zed
Kha'Zix
jungle
though.
for Munchie. He's played it twice already. This is going to be his third try of it.
Yep.
And SYN Eternal Season, oops, all carries is composition for game number 3.
Yeah, and they need to have lockdowns in some place. So that means that probably we're going to see a support going to have to be the lockdown here. So Leona and Alistar already, or sorry, Leona and Nautilus already rising up in priority in terms of what they're going to be able to look for, because there's not a lot of other engaged supports that you can try and get, especially with a engaged less sort of composition here that has more carries than CC options. Now Yorick picked for the side of Lotus, not a bad choice to try and go against the M-Pesa. And then as the last pick here for the remainder for the Sivir, it just be as well another engaged support, or the Braum here wouldn't necessarily be a bad option. Has a lot of ways to deny the damage from the Wei and the Seri, and then a lot of durability as well. But it looks like Leona seems to be the prime option here. Great engage, a lot of lockdown, point and click, CC plus ultimate with long range. So overall, not necessarily a bad choice. And we'll just have to wait and see what the support option is, unless it's this Wei.
Yeah, I mean, Nautilus is still up, so I would think that that is perhaps the choice. Could look for a little more disengage to the form of the Braum.
Yep.
But I don't know that is exactly what gets you through the still very powerful engage potential of Lotus. I mean, Syndra is still going to be fishing with Scatter the Weeks. Leona's going to be fishing with Solar Flare. I don't know that I love the Braum here into Leona, but will give you some ability to kite back. Will give you a little bit of defensiveness for the Zeri. Will block some of the damage from the Syndra, but not much. If you're able to get ahead of Unleashed Power, that's one of the big interactions that you're looking for. But I mean, that's going to be the extent of what you can really accomplish. That and blocking Sivir autos.
Yeah, I think the Braum here for blocking the Sivir and the Syndra not necessarily a bad thing, especially the Unleashed Power, right? Getting to deny that ultimate can work out to a certain degree. The only problem is what we were just mentioning before. Like, there's a great lack of engage on the side of SYN Eternal Season. Like, the only real engage that they have is top lane 101 going for the public execution. That's about it, because then Calamity would need to flash in or ulti way before the fight, or wait it out so that they come into you, and that way you can play the fight around that. But the problem with that is that you need to be either ahead or first to the objective, and that's difficult with a composition that has the Sivir, the Syndra, and also the Vi that has a point and click initiation device.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough battle from the ground up, right? You're going to have to get ahead in the early stages of SYN Eternal Season here to build yourself up the push, to build yourself up the capability of being first to the objective. And then even once you are first to the objective, Lotus is a strong engage composition. They're going to pop on the hunt, they're going to pop cease and desist, and they're going to rush you. You are going to have to be able to play that scenario out appropriately as well. So it's not like the battle is over just because you get there first. You're then going to have to play out the team fight appropriately, which is also going to be challenging. So a lot of confidence placed into the individual talents of their players here for SYN Eternal Season game number 3.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of dependency on how they can perform here, and it does feel a little bit that SYN Eternal Season went for a more comfort-based composition when you think about it, because, well, I'm actually not sure how much comfort does Munchie has with the set here. I'm gonna be honest, he has played it before, but I'm not sure how much comfort there is. But Season of Leaves playing the Wave feels perfectly fine. Top lane 101 playing the Ambessa as well, perfectly fine. Seri for the option also, and Calamity, his supportive choice going for the Braum here. It just feels like they are opting more for the comfort and the ability for them to play it than how the composition is going to be cohesive or how it's going to work together, where Lotus feels like it's more cohesive in general. You have the point and click follow-up from the chat from the Vi with the Leona as well, then you have Syndra and Sivir working out really effectively as backline hitters, and then a split pusher that can also team fight in the form of the Yorick. Like, there's tiers on how they can play the match and how they can play team fights that can work out a little bit better for Lotus, and it's not dependent on just comfortability or ability from the players.
For sure. You know, it's not like Lotus are uncomfortable on their selections either.
Not true.
Robbie Bob, a major Syndra player, the inheritor to the Bjergsen throne, perhaps. Somebody who's gotten a lot of reps on this champion over the course of recent seasons. Chad on the Vi, of course. Plenty familiar there. Porsche has only recently picked up the Yorick, but I think it's a good selection for him here, especially as he loses access to some of the preferred options in that second phase of bans. He is taking some losses here to guarantee that Lotus were able to get the first 3 that they wanted in the Vi, Syndra, and Sivir. And those are where it is going to have to pay off for them. If they can find those engages, if they can find those fights. And as I said earlier in the draft, and I will repeat here, we need a strong laning phase out of Season of Leaves to see SYN Eternal Season find success here. If he gets solo killed by Robbie Bob again this game, it's going to make what already feels like an uphill climb even steeper.
Yeah, any solo kill that can come through means that you're giving a lot of advantages to the other side, and you do not want to give those advantages at all if it comes to that. Now, if it comes on the other side, right, if you get the solo kills yourself, this is a composition that if it snowballs, it's kind of difficult to put a stop to, because even though you do have tools to try and have CC down and lock down people, the damage outputs that they have and the lack of real tanks, quote unquote, on the side of Lotus means that someone like Daption getting ahead is going to be difficult to put a stop to. Season of Leaves having really good poke from a safe distance and a lot of damage if he gets ahead can be difficult as well. And same from the set. Like, yes, there's lockdown, but he can delete a target with him if he wants to.
Now, watching out for, I mean, I've seen some impressive Zed jungle performances. I think I saw one of the Munchie Zed games. I saw a Zed game in ACL this split. I can't remember off the top of my head whether it was Munchie or not. But not surprised.
I don't think it was Munchie. Yeah, I don't think it was Munchie, but it could have, like, it's like it could be, but at the same time, I don't think it's Munchie, the one that we saw the Zed game. I'm pretty sure he lost as well when we watched it.
I do believe it lost, but I do remember thinking, oh, that was pretty nifty. It looked good. You know, it's had some individual performances. I am trying to find out who has played the Zed previously. Let's do a little. I have my sheet up here. I go in, I type in Zed. Who has played Zed? Limo, Melk, Munchie, and Verdict. So I actually do think it was Munchie.
Yeah, but actually, I'm between Verdict and Munchie, and I'm inclining more on Munchie, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Verdict, kind of the Zed jungle OG. So, you know what? Maybe it was Verdict.
Yeah, because I think we saw Verdict game here from, like, with his set.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna guess it was Verdict, actually. Verdict would not surprise me to have been the one to pilot the Zed. But regardless, Verdict made it look good. Verdict's been making it look good for years.
Yep.
See if Munchie can pick that up. I think Munchie, a player we've seen do very well on some of these carry junglers, or somebody people associate with the Master Yi. It's gotten to play it once. It's been very good with the Jax as well. Had a good Kha'Zix game this split. We will see. I think he had a good Pantheon game last game. Been playing well all series long. So very, very curious to see how the Zed is going to perform for him, because that could be the X factor, right? Even if these lanes aren't going the best, if he can come bail them out, if he can get himself ahead, and what are Sivir and Syndra to do?
Kind of difficult to really look into what they can do, depending on also what they are allowed to do with some of the possibilities from some of these champions as well. So it's going to be fun seeing how much value they are going to be able to get out of their quote-unquote comfort, and then also like how much is Robbie Bob or Sagiwabi going to be able to achieve from these picks, right? Because one thing that I've noticed is that Sivir's rising priority has also gone up in a way that just having the champion feels like you're going to at the very least have a chance at any point of the game. Like even early on, Sivir is dealing more damage than you would expect, and then later on it just gets better and better. So there's always a possibility for the Sivir to actually have an opportunity to outplay you. Same for the Syndra, where if she gets behind, even in that case, as long as she gets an opportunity to blow you up, that can turn around the game. And I'm kind of curious in seeing if Robbie Bob and Sagiwabi are going to be able to achieve that as well.
So eyes on Robbie to continue to be this big force for Lotus. I think if Robbie is not having the kind of night that he's had so far, I do not think Lotus are able to pull back that game number 2. He was incredibly impactful in game number 1 as well. Put his team into a successful position that they were not able to maintain due to some over-aggressive plays. Needs to do it one more time to keep what has been a long streak of top 6 performances alive for Robbie Bob. If you look at Robbie's ACL history, he was 6th place as a backup mid laner on 2024 Winter Cerulean's Kittens. Made it top 6 on 2024 Fall's Peak Performers. Made it top 6 in 2025 Spring's Next Level Esports, along with All Calamity here. This would be a 4th in a row top 6 for Robbie Bob here in the ACL.
Is the lowest from their team Claritz and Robbie Bob? Like the lowest finishes?
Claritz, I don't think has ever made an ACL playoffs before.
Fair enough. So Claritz has the lowest, then it's Robbie Bob, I would
Porsche
think.
and Chad have both won. Porsche with a little bit of an asterisk that he was splitting time with Philip on Citadel last split.
True. And Sagewabe reached a final, I think. Or a loser's final?
I mean, I don't think so. I think Sagewabe, at least on my records here, has also made a bunch of top 6s. He was top 6 in 2024 Winter with Polestar Academy, and then he was on that Peak Performers and Next Level Esports rosters that I just mentioned for Robbie Bob. So top 6 is where they've both kind of capped out for ACLs. It's certainly not a mark they want to fall below here in 2025 summer.
So the best performer, quote unquote, is still Chad, by virtue of being the only champion.
Yeah, Chad being a champion on a clear, he was the only player playing,
and he actually
Mirage
played.
Alliance roster. Yes, Porsche played a lot on that Citadel team, but I do not believe was playing in the final itself, and was not.
Did he play? I'll be devil's advocate here. Did he play in playoffs?
Yes, he played a lot of playoffs,
So
if I recall.
If did he play in playoffs, then I think it's fair to mention him as a champion, because that's how you reach the final, technically.
Yeah, I think he even played the majority of playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's fine then. I think Porsche can be considered a champion in that sense.
Yeah, no, I would agree. He's made NACL promotion tournaments and stuff before too. I think
Yeah, but this is the real success.
True. He's got quite the resume, and I think would see it as a disappointment to fall short of top 6, especially when this team is in the promotion tournament this split.
Yep.
They're going to be in the promotion tournament next week. You don't want to drop to SYN Eternal Season against players that didn't make that tournament.
Yeah, it's a situation where this is Lotus is still the favorite here, and they should quote unquote win. Even if they lost that first game, they still should be the favorites to end up winning the series. So it's still on them to really show up and prove that they are the favorites in a way, and Citizen for them to show that they can still win against Lotus, even if they didn't do it in the promotion tournament qualifiers. They can do it here as well. So it's going to be a fun last game to try and show up on who can really make a case here.
Again, but the flash spear from Season of Leaves will give first blood to Munchie. Chad gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and SYN Eternal Season are on the board first. First blood to the Zed.
And you know what they say, Gordo? Do not steal from the monster, because that's exactly what ends up happening. He just gets collapsed on in the jungle, loses his flash, loses his life, and now everything in the map kind of falls apart, because now Munchie has free way to come here top lane, mess up with Porch, and potentially get another one. Not enough to just collapse in there, but it's still so much more value for the side of Lotus, as Season has the flash.
Oh, an early roam from Claritz to try to put Robbie Bob ahead,
damage.
and it looks like it will succeed. Robbie gets himself on the board just as quickly as Munchie did. A big flash engage from Claritz on the roam. They will look to try to deny some CS from Sagewabe for this, but ooh, the flash blown for the first blood is punished successfully by Lotus.
So now the story of the game will be, is the advantage from Robbie enough that it matters that the roam from Claritz is going to be extremely useful, or Munchie getting that first blood is going to be game defining? It's really going to be the story of what carries better between the two of them, but also the stacks that Robbie Bob was able to get there. Important to keep on getting the Syndra to the power level that we know she can be. Oh, Munchie, no flash.
Munchie, no flash, but with the shadow swap, still getting chain CC'd. He can't move, and Claritz will take him down, rocking the double buffs.
Well, guess that kind of shuts down the story of the second carry here, even though it is Claritz the one that got the kill. So not the worst thing at the end of the day, but certainly now shutting down Munchie that was trying to steal some of the camps. It's still another assist for Robbie Bob, so the value from the Syndra is still finding its way really effectively. And the,
oh my god. All right. Calamity didn't connect the Winter's Blade. Still can't get the auto through.
It's okay.
If Claritz had gotten touched by the Braum, it probably would have been a kill there, but he does not. Even spam some emotes there and he'll get out.
Yeah, I know, this is how I know that I'm not at the level of these players, because, oh no, Munchie
coming on in, going to have the shadow swap, going to be an attempted block from Sagewabe. They still can't finish him up. It's a flash in from Dabshin. He's punched in the mouth by Chad. And Lotus get their third SYN Eternal season, find themselves overreaching, and Lotus get their third.
That's a lore accurate buy, by the way. That's a punch to a person from Sound to the face, as the police in Piltover probably do. And now Dabshin dead. That means that bot lane completely in control on the side of Lotus. They are ahead now in mid lane, ahead in bot lane, and the jungle no longer runs the show for the side of Season. Sorry, that's a really bad start now for Season. After that first blood, it just kind of fell apart.
And you know, it's the over-aggression right back. I think these early aggressive invades from Chad, which I think have become a staple of his play at this stage. I've seen so much of him in ACL this year, in OQs this year, is always looking for these early invades. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they don't, but what they always do is they change the terms of engagement of the game. And if you aren't ready to make the right decisions in real time up against this veteran Lotus squad, then they will punish you for it. And that's what exactly has happened in this early game.
Yeah, precisely that ends up happening. Also, just quickly, Season of Leaves throwing out the ultimate in the mid lane, so now not going to have it to try and fight it out a little bit more. But it just kind of goes to show really the difference between how some of these players want to do certain things and how the experience can really make or break certain situations in a game. Now, the game is not over for Season at all. Like, they still have a lot of strong champions that can play around their power spikes really effectively, and as long as they are able to find their gold back, should be completely fine. As they're trying to collapse here, maybe onto the dragon, maybe force a fight. There's 4 members down there on the bot side.
Yeah, going to look for another opportunity in the bottom side, it looks like, as all Calamity stepping forward gets a little bit of those concussive blows on towards Claritz. They will not be able to chase him down for any more, as both junglers and mid laners hovering around the mid lane. Looking like a fight might be breaking out here. Support roaming on down. Munchie disengages and surrenders this bottom river over to Lotus. His top lane 101 falling lower and lower, going to find another snare, but there's going to be the CC under the turret. Top lane 101 flashes out to safety. 2 turret shots out of Porsche, but it's not enough. Now the fight breaking out on the bottom side. Claritz might be in too deep. He's got to flash out the way he came. Munchie going to throw himself forward, guarantees the passive proc, and gives a kill to Dabshin.
See, that should have happened in the previous play. Now Calamity is going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be enough chances here for Chad to actually get and commit to the play, but a kill obtained down there in the bot side, really good that they are able to give it as well to the Dabshin, so getting that slight advantage really comfortably. And then in the top lane, even though Porsche is trying his best to really just mess up with the Ambessa, really nice play by top lane 101 to deny the potential kill there and just get more value at the end of the day.
And I mean, I still got to give it to top lane 101. He managed to navigate his way out of that one.
Yeah.
Playing, you know, in a very similar situation to Season of Leaves here as a younger player, much less competitive experience up against one of the staples of this level of play, but really putting up results over the course of this series. Does find himself behind up against the Yorick, which I believe is the expected result. Question is going to be, can he show up in these fights on the Ambessa the way that this team needs him to?
Yeah, I would argue maybe a little bit more out of lane than in lane, but in general, as long as they are able to find their opportunities in team fights, that can still really pull off the side of SYN. For top lane 101 though, it's going to be a little bit more difficult just because of the fact that you're playing an Ambessa into a Sivir Syndra and also not enough engage to follow up on you. So it's all on you to be able to pull off a great engage, reach the backline, and then be able to kill them as well in the process.
That is the ask. That is the need. Munchie starts to work on these grubs. We'll pick up one. Here's Lotus to respond.
Oh.
A flash punch from Chad. Munchie tries to turn it back with the ultimate, too late. Pulling Chad back and forth. Keeps him inside the pit. Now, can the rest of SYN finish him off? He's going to jump back on the wall. Top lane 101 is cut off. Not able to catch him. Doesn't throw out the ultimate. Season of Leaves doesn't have the damage. And Chad gets away with murder.
No way, and they get 2 grubs as well, by the way. So they kill Munchie, they kill top lane 101, they get 2 grubs, and then Sivir is still farming happily down there in the bot side. Everything working out here for Lotus, and they want more here. There is the ultimate though on Robbie.
Caption over the wall. Good dodge on the scat of the week. Going to try to work on Clarice. Nice damage off the isolated severing bolt of Seasonal Leaves. Oh, Calamity, the one who picks up the kill. Wishing they'd given that over to that Adaption, I'm sure.
Yep.
But SYN Eternal Season will make their pick either way.
Yeah, and that's a really good kill to try and get back. I don't understand really well why Lotus wanted to force there when there was no ultimate force Robbie Bob in that situation, so he wasn't really going to maximize his damage output, and then it's also a Brom, so it's not really worth it to try and engage in that place. That being said, they still won pretty handily the previous fight, and they are ahead in the game, 1.7k ahead of the side of SYN, and they are even able to still force onto them pretty effectively.
Well, been a really good series of events for Lotus all in all. Find themselves 2k up here at 11 minutes. Is exactly what they were hoping for. Not falling behind in lane to this SYN Eternal Season comp makes it very difficult to play out. The best hopes they have are where they've been able to put some of this kill gold. Getting a kill on Munchie is a little behind in the jungle farm, but did still get that kill gold. Getting a kill on Adaption as well, whose individual prowess could show up in this fight, in this game. Top lane 101, though, again, finds himself isolated by that procession. And Porsche finds another strong trade.
Every instance of fighting that we see from the top lane is Porsche just getting the better trades against top lane 101, and top lane 101 just trying to farm it up, try and get a little bit more gold, be efficient for a future fight, because right now he's not really going to win those 1v1s. Teleport down now for top lane 101 means that they probably are not going to try and play... Oh, Chad.
Oh, good work by Munchie trying to block Chad here. He's just going to go and proxy the wave, tries to buy some time. He'll try to punch his way out of here, but top lane 101 going to stay on top of him, and they will give that kill to the Ambessa. Little double buffs going to feel plenty good for the top laner. And Chad, once again, he gets caught with his fork in the bean bowl. He's in too deep, and they will be able to pick him off and take him down.
Yeah, another good kill that they were able to find. Chad not respecting the potential there from the Munch to be able to appear in that position, and that just means that now with that extra lead that they are able to get, able to push onto the turret and force more onto Porsche. Will it be more effective? We'll have to wait and see a little bit if that turns into something more useful, as Clarice
caught on out, taking a page out of Chad's book here. Deep behind enemy lines, found by the squad, collapsed on by Munchie, kill given to solo laner. And I'm seeing double TDS deja vu, as once again a Lotus member is picked going up too deep and gives gold back.
Yeah, we had been in that place before, and it looked like another kill for the side of SYN. Not going to Adaption once again, but he's still getting quite a bit of value thanks to that. Getting the kill, getting the assists, getting the gold from the minions, staying really, really close to the Sivir, and both AD carries are actually in a kind of nice spot. Both of them able to find their advantages, able to find good value, able to get their first items. It's not like one is extremely ahead of the other. The only real plays, or actually the two places that are really far ahead for the side of Lotus, are the solo laners, particularly Rockbob. That is doing such a good job at just keeping the pressure up onto Season of Leaves.
Robbie Bob has been the highlight for the team throughout tonight. Is once again going to be the player that they are looking to carry them through the rest of the way. Clarit's working on this tower. Adaption will be able to clear out a few of the minions at the very least. There is another plate worth of gold going over to Sagewabe, who has been having a lot of alone time in this bottom lane while Adaption finds some of these kills. It wouldn't surprise me to see Sagewabe up on gold overall here because of those 4 plates.
And they are continuing here to just trade a little bit. Actually, objective-wise, because one dragon went to the side of Lotus and the 2 grubs went to them as well. Oh, they won a fight.
Oh, Munchie getting everything thrown at him here. Tries to create some space, jumps on away, and will be able to return back to the dragon. Oh, Calamity making a lot of abuse. In the meantime, though, Sagewabe flashes forward and finishes off the support. Munchie forced to retreat thanks to the damage he took earlier on. Did a good job of dodging Solar Flare, but Chad chases him down regardless, and Lotus will have control over this second dragon.
It's a flash to the face from Sagewabe there, and it's another kill for the Sliver. As second dragon of the game goes down, that's going to be another slight opportunity here for the side of Lotus to get the soul. But so far, so good in terms of control. They have so much value coming in mid lane and bot lane, and they are transforming that into objective control that they can utilize in the best manner possible. So it's all just a waiting game for them to try and get to their power spikes really quickly and just destroy the game after that.
Yeah, now going to be 11 kills total. Lotus still keeping themselves in the driver's seat. 3K up. And a Rift Herald next up on the menu. Porsche already in front of it. They're going to call over the rest of the squad. SYN Eternal Season, they want to send over some members to respond. Robbie Bob already on the recall. He's going to be the first one here.
Yeah, it doesn't have teleport though, so that does mean that they have to walk back to this position, but it's not getting started just yet. It's not going to be forced by the side of Lotus just now at this point. So that means that there's a slight margin for SYN to try and push the wave and be ready to come into the action. But the game's still really close, still really trying to decide what they want to go for on both sides, and trying to see if they want to just fight it out for the Rift Herald or if there's something else that they want to try and go for.
Rift Herald next up yet again. They bring on up 4 members. Lotus is already starting it up. Top lane 101 has so far shoved in. Season of Leaves just now recalling from the bottom lane. It doesn't seem like SYN Eternal Season are going to be here fast enough to be able to respond. It should go over for free. Daption, in fact, might even be a target. He has to skate over that little short section of wall to even create the distance to stay alive.
Yeah, able to escape there, though that does mean that they are going to have a slight margin here to play with. And there's also 2 members already in top side, but 2 members collapsing as well, coming in from the side of SYN. Chad didn't pull the trigger.
1 versus 3, the turret will go on down, but Season of Leaves is here for the backup, and Daption over the wall throws out an Ultra Shock laser. Scatter the Weak will knock the rest of them away. All Calamity and Munchie coming in on the bottom. It's a full 5-on-5 party in the top side with neither side willing to pull the trigger.
Oh, are you sure about that?
No, it might happen here. All Calamity just gets dunked right up in Chad's face. One-on-one. Chad flashes back up the wall. Top lane 101 getting down in there. Munchie to the backside. Executes Chad. Jumps back over, but is one-shot by the damage of Sagewabe. Clarit's wants to keep the fight going. Watches the performance of the Zenith play. The lockdown onto Season of Leaves will put him down. And Lotus lose 1 for 4 in full control of game number 3. And a shot at top 6.
And turns out jumping over walls is enough for Adaption to escape, but not enough for the rest of the team. Such a good engage they are able to find there, and it's all on Chad just proactively being as aggressive as possible. Gets on top of Calamity, they delete this Braum that hasn't had the most success so far at this point, and then even though Munchie is able to reach a good spot on the back, he's not able to really maximize his damage output because he just gets immediately controlled and then immediately killed. And then running down the team fight, they're doing a really good job of just having so much CC that it's able to control everyone on the side of SYN as. Oh, Porsche maybe that here.
3-man collapse on a Porsche. Top lane 101, low on energy. Going to be able to regen it back off the passive. Munchie taking so much damage from these ghouls. The Maiden and the ghouls might just take him out on their own. And Porsche says thank you to his little buddies as he gets out of there for free.
that was looking more scary for Munchie than it was for Porch there, and it's also a teleport committed by Season of Leaves, and they are not able to find anything at all. Well, maybe the flash, if you consider the flash to be enough or worthy enough of using the teleport here. And now TZ Porch is just going to keep on pushing here on the side lane, try and find more avenues for him to just maximize his gold output, and then even get farther ahead than the Ambess at this point. Also, the other members are just responding really well to some of the plays that the side of Season is looking for, and if they can find one pick or a little bit better position, that can just turn into much more gold for them.
10-6 on the scoreboard, 5k gold lead to Lotus. Dragons in Lotus's favor as well. SYN Eternal Season have not had plays go their favor in quite a while, and they do not have the advantages on these individual mechanical champions to make these massive outplays. Feels like it's going to have to be some mistakes from Lotus. We've seen mistakes from Lotus before this series, but that's what it's going to have to be. That and some miraculous play from Daption, perhaps, who has played well on the Zeri, but is it a substantial deficit to Sagewabe?
Yeah, it's just the difference that Sagewabe has been able to find better fights here and there, and also the amount of minions that they've been able to clear. One of the advantages of that Sivir, right? Being able to perma clear away, perma find just angles to be able to push and get so much more control. And then, really good fight here actually for top lane 101.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing it perfectly, and Porsche makes it an even trade because he just dunks him once with the last rites. Champion very strong in the one-on-one, and going to continue to regen more thanks to the Maiden. He's doing quite a bit of work as well. Munchie deep behind enemy lines, looking to try to make a flank play happen here. It is a 3 versus 4. Knockup connects on a Sagewabe, but Munchie can't find his route in. Lightning Crash pop by Daption to try to step forward, but they are sectioned off by the Solar Flare.
The ulti goes wide.
Doesn't connect the ultimate, but will still get a fair bit of damage there from the multi.
Third to the life.
Take down Claritz, but Claritz is able to create the space. Severing Bolt doesn't connect, and Lotus just walk out. Flashes are down. Ultimates are down. No play is available for SYN Eternal Season.
It was closer for Lotus to get a kill than it was for Season to close out on the first one. And now, after all that scuffle, even though nobody died, it's going to be a Dragon for Lotus. Soul Point really early on here going to be obtained by them, and now it's going to be on what Season wants to try and go for. Do they want to wait and fight it out for this last Dragon? They want to throw it all on Atakan? What is the next objective that they will be looking for? Because at this point, the game is completely run by Lotus.
It's a good look from SYN Eternal Season. You can't blame them. They had the long chase they felt. They saw the angles. They don't connect Spiraling Despair from Season of Leaves. It's perhaps the major mechanical criticism you could make here. Top lane 101 hits a raw public execution on a Robbie Bob, and will be able to finish him off through the teleport. Well done by top lane 101. That's big shutdown gold for him.
Yeah, really good ultimate they are able to find, and importantly, really good stop that they put onto the pace of how Lotus was trying to play this game out. Now the game can slow down a little bit, can be played a little bit easier on the side of Season, and that way they can try and get to that point that we were talking about, fighting for the next objective, be it Atakan or be it Dragon. This way you have a little bit more leeway to try and play around that. But also they did commit the ultimate from the Mbessa, so it's going to be down for a little while before that Engage tool is going to be back up, and it's playing off of the fact that you have Alkalamity and maybe the set.
And the need for Otacon is palpable for SYN Eternal Season. They need something to give themselves a little bit of an edge in some of these engagements. A big XP boost would do wonders for them in trying to extend this game out a little bit longer. AoE wouldn't be too shabby either. Solar Flare comes out, doesn't connect onto a target. Shad's still looking for somebody to ultimate. They have been able to create the distance. They are the first ones on the objective, but look at Porsche TPing into the back line. He'll get in there with the Maiden. Munchie immediately has to retreat. Calamity left out to dry, tries to flash back away, but Chad's all over him. Sagewabe goes on a rampage.
Coming.
Out Season Leaves, gonna be isolated away as well. It's a double kill to Sagewabe. Robbie Bob isolates Captain. Top lane 101 TPs into his demise. A triple kill to Sagewabe as Lotus get 4 for 0.
Yeah, and turns out that even though they killed Robbie Bob in a really good play in the side lane, it's not going to be enough. Really, really good collapse there by Lotus. They find so many good picks in that position, forcing Dabtion to run away really quickly, and actually forcing SYN to run away as well really quickly because of how the fight ended up starting. And that just meant that when Lotus was running them down, they just had much better value off of their ultimates, their flashes, and also the damage dealing abilities to kill. Really good fight by Lotus. They also get the Atakan, and it's all setting up for the success of them.
14-7 now. Lotus win another engagement, secure another objective, win another epic buff. And 2 minutes away from competing for Soul. SYN Eternal Season will be fielding Force to challenge there. And that will likely be the breaking point of the game if it hasn't been broken open already. Chad trying to take this one-on-one here, but it's not a one-on-one at all. Munchie able to dive himself back out of there in time, and Chad now going to be isolated at top lane 101, just trying to finish him off. Top lane 101 gets his third of the game. A small bit back here for SYN Eternal Season, but with no objectives up, nothing to be forced.
Tiny bit of value, but like you're mentioning, since there's nothing to actually fight for, that means that there's nothing that they can really make out of this. So they just have to take the gold and try and maybe force something eventually. How much can they force though? That's going to be the main question mark. And how much can they wait before they need to once again look for some of these plays for the next objective? Dragon's coming in 120, Baron is up in 8 seconds, but they don't necessarily have the strongest Baron taking damage dealing team. So it's all feeling like it's going to be a fight for that last Dragon.
That is going to be where everything comes down to. A fight over Dragon's Soul. SYN Eternal Season can't pull something out there. Lotus are just going to continue their rampage through the game. Again, the mistakes haven't been zero from Lotus. They have overextended. They have gotten picked. It could happen again. But it is so difficult for SYN Eternal Season to play out their composition from this position. They have no front line. They have no way to force engages. They just kind of need to throw themselves in there and or hope that Lotus get themselves picked.
Throw themselves and hope that they stick onto the faces of the enemy, kind of like.
Yep.
It's not a pretty plan, but it's the plan that they opted into. Maybe they can find Chad here. They are first to the objective, so they have a little bit of control. They can try and push the wave and maybe try and kill Chad in this position. Oh, wait, Sage.
Oh, Sagewabe a little bit isolated.
Actually,
oh, but Munchie is blown up too damn fast. Thought he had an assassination angle, but he is the victim this time around. Top lane 101 isolated away from the rest of the team, trying to use that Drakehound step to get that little bit of extra space. Will be able to get himself out of there, but this Dragon is done for. Lotus will secure the Ocean Soul. They've got the Otacon buff already, and they just continue to get stronger and stronger in game number 3.
Yeah, it turns out that when you have the opportunity to kill the jungler and you kill the jungler, getting the objective is going to be that much easier, as they are controlling the space, they are finding the pick at the right time. And even though it was looking like maybe Munchie was the one that fought and find Sagewabe there.
Caption caught out. Oh, Calamity with a huge hero play. Blocks the unleashed power of Robbie Bob, saving Daption's life. Will it be an opportunity to come back and keep the fight going? Scatter the Weak connects out of 2 once again. Season Leaves arrives to be able to heal up and shield up the rest of the team, but it's only to create an escape route. Chad coming in on the flank when he throw himself in 1 versus 4. Will get melted down by the damage of Daption, and Season Leaves as they get one back. That's the jungler down. No Baron up and available, though, was already finished off by the Lotus crew, so it's just a kill.
It's really just a kill there, so even though Chad dies in that position, the value still is up there for the side of Lotus. It's funny how from all those kills, 5 are from Chad and the other half is from Claritz and Robbie Bob. But neither Porsche nor Sagewabe have died, and they have done a really good job at playing with great range so that they don't get collapsed immediately and die. Really, really smart way of playing this game so far by them.
Really smart for certain. And looking now, be able to close this one out is Lotus. Just needing one more opportunity to be able to take a one-sided fight. It might just happen for them here. Going to be pushing in towards the base. Baron buff at their backs. And starting work onto the mid lane turret.
trying to find max value out of the scatter of the week there by Robbie Bob, but not really getting onto the player. That being said, they are still able to push into the mid lane. They are going to try and get onto the inhibitor turret as soon as possible. Same for the top lane. Who can really stop Porsche here? Teleport back from the Mbessa. Are they going to commit?
Punchy up in Porsche's face, but doesn't have the assassination potential. Dude's 3 levels down, and here's Robbie Bob with
So
all the
much
vector damage. Public execution connects onto Robbie, goes into the stasis, top lane 101, now just interested in keeping himself alive. His jungler can't stay the same, as there's a Sage Wabe quadra kill, rampaging through the fight. Penta stolen by Robbie Bob, but this game and this series are done for. Lotus with the veterancy put down the newcomers, and they will advance to top 6. Robbie Bob keeps his streak alive.
Yeah, the top 6 streak alive, and doing so in a really strong manner. That last game really just showcasing all the strengths that the side of Lotus has. Chad maybe a little bit too haywire with some of those engages, like killing himself more than he needed probably there. But in general, just a good game by all the members from the side of Lotus. As you can see, Sagawabe and Robbie Bob doing a lot of damage. Not the most, because Sure exists, but apart from that, everything working out really well from them.
Absolutely. Little bits of hiccups here and there, but the winner on the night will be Lotus handedly, and Robbie Bob certainly deserves a whole boatload of credit on the night.
Yeah.
It is certainly going to be an exciting top 6 with Lotus joining us. They've made the promotion tournament, and now they will make themselves a spot in top 6 ACL lower quarterfinals.
Yeah, and ACL actually with quote unquote a potential lower bracket of mainly NACL bound players or NACL players, right? Because it's Lotus here. It's between Gravity and Papa's Chunks, but the assumption is that Papa's Chunks should be the winner or the favorite at the very least. And then you have Citadel, CCG, and Supernova, which are all NACL teams, plus Milk Experts hold that even though they didn't really qualify, still players that have had playtime in the NACL.
Yeah, and joining up with plenty of NACL players already there. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the ACL, where we are joined by Clarice, fresh off a 2-1 win and securing top 6 in the ACL. Congratulations, Clarice, moving forward in yet another Tier 3 tournament, Tier 2 tournament this split.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I want to start things off by talking about pulling things back after game number 1. You guys have a lead in game number 1, but feels like over-aggress on a couple of plays, which ends up giving SYN the place to get back in. Lets the Mel get back into the game, and they're able to carry on through from there. How do you guys regroup after that first game to try to come back in the rest of the series?
I swear, okay, every game 1 I like int really bad, okay? So as long as we lose game 1, we'll win the series. So like the second we lose game 1, I'm like, all right, like we won. Like it's so chill now. But I mean, I was just inting early. I don't really think it was on my team that game. I just played bad. And then after the game ended, I was literally like, yo, like, sorry. Like, and I just woke up too. So I was like, it's fine. Like, we'll just go game 2, 3 and win it. Like, it doesn't matter. And no one was really like stressed or worried about it.
All right.
Yeah. Quick change of mindset that's good for you guys, obviously. And I want to speak a little bit about like obviously playing this matchup this week, like changing roster, quote unquote, because typically we see you guys playing with Reptile instead of playing with Sagawabe. So you have played essentially with 380 carries this week.
I have.
Unless I'm blanking, because I'm not sure if Reptile played yesterday. I'm sorry, but
No, Reptile didn't play yesterday. Yes, because yesterday's OQ. We can't have Reptile for OQ. We have Aaron yesterday.
No. Yesterday was ACL.
Oh yeah. We played with Sage yesterday. That's why we played with him today, because yesterday Reptile didn't know we played, so that he was MIA. So we're like, oh my god, like we need sub. And then Sage came, and then he played well, and we're like, yo, Reptile, like, is it okay if like we just play with him again because we just played? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. So I mean, we'll probably have Reptile back next week, but we just screwed up our scheduling for yesterday, and then we brought Sage back in today again. I mean, he's been performing, so we're happy about it.
Yeah, it worked. But it's funny seeing you guys like playing with 3 different 80 carries. Like you're probably one of the only teams that played with 1 in the OQs, 1 in the ACL, or actually 2 in the ACL, and it's working out to a certain degree. So I'm kind of curious how that experience with different ADs works for you, since you're the closest to them.
Okay, it's like weird because I want like one consistent, right? Obviously, like it's my lane partner and stuff. So like Aaron has like work and stuff, so he's always busy, so I can't get many reps in with him. And then Reptile's EU, so like I can't get reps in with him because like when he's done streaming and stuff, it's like 2 a.m. his time, so it's screwed. And then Sage is available, but he also works. So I'm just being thrown around everywhere, and like it's annoying, right? But I mean, in my head, ADCs, they just right click, like they just chill out, so it's not too big of a deal. Like if it was like a mid or a jungler, I think it would be like terrible, but I think AD is the only role where it's sort of acceptable for this to be happening.
All right.
No one really like tweaks out or freaks out either, so I'm fine with it.
Good stuff.
If it works.
Stuff. So I'm curious about the rest of the teammates then. What's it like playing with, Porsche, Chad, Robbie, Bob? All these guys kind of been through the ringer. They've all played in a lot of promotion tournaments before. Chad and Robbie have both played at the NACL level before. I know you've kind of been listed as a sub a few times on NACL teams, but we haven't gotten to see you kind of make those deep runs before or get into the tier 2 league. Curious as to what it's like playing with that top trio who have so much experience.
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed. Okay, so like the only person I knew previously before playing on this team was Chad, and like I was roommates with him a couple years back, so like I know him personally. But Robbie Bob I've never spoken to, and then Porsche I've never spoken to, and then I was looking at their Leaguepedia pages, and I'm like, okay, like they always are on like weird like low tier teams, right? And then like our first week of scrims, I'm watching Robbie Bob, like he's always up 2 levels, he's always up 30 CS. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like he's actually like stomping. So then I asked him, I'm like, yo, why are you always playing on these bad teams? He's like, I don't know, man. He's like, that's the only offer I got. And like he doesn't even seem phased by it. I'm like, what? But like my experiences with those two have been good, and like their vibes are good too, because they were also roommates IRL, so they mesh well. And then Chad has known them all for years, so like the whole top side is pretty much good. And then like they just slotted me in, right? So it's good vibes. Everyone's friends and stuff. So I'm happy playing with them, and they're obviously a lot more experienced than me, so I'm not going to complain about anything.
Makes a lot of sense. Actually, kind of funny you speaking as you talking about that because it's true. Like we've seen Robbie Bob and Porsche in a lot of weird rosters. Funnily enough, like we were talking about how Robbie Bob's like top finish is in ACL is top 6. Like he has not gone above that. The only one that has done like the best from you guys is Chad being well. Actually, no, Porsche and Chad being the only two that have won ACL, and then you other three guys obviously not being to that level yet, but it's fun seeing like that dynamic changing up and meshing up well. And I'm kind of curious, like for this sort of setup, because obviously you're thinking about ACL, NACL Okus particularly first and foremost, but then ACL as well. Like, are you faced by any roster at all? Because you have competition here that you'll face in the NACL as well. Like, is there anyone that you're really like thinking about more than the other teams or anything, especially from them?
Or ACL or OQ? Sorry.
I wouldn't say both because technically speaking, you do have like opponents from ACL and NACL there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Suzuki
The
is
only
going to be
team that's on my mind is Citadel because like I'm friends with Philip and like we always like are trash talking each other. So I really wanted to take him out in our series versus them, and then obviously they stomped
Okay.
us. But for OQ wise, I'm pretty sure we're just the best team. Like I'm not worried about anything. And then even in our promotion tournament, the side of the bracket we got is the Vancouver side, which I think is easier, which I'm kind of upset about because I wanted the harder side. So I'm not worried about anything on that side. Like I'm like in my head, like we're promoting, like it's just that simple. And then
Right.
yeah, for
enough.
ACL, I just want to face Citadel again and take them out. Like that's my goal.
All right. Well, you'll see. You have a good chance of potentially going up against either Supernova
Yeah.
or CCG as your next matchup based on who wins out on that series that has been rescheduled to later this week. So very interesting to see what will go on there. We have gotten word from Duan, and Duan is the man with the decision power here. Next week we'll be off due to NACL promo, so we're gonna push everything a week.
Conflict.
Let
Awesome.
Lotus
That's
and
good, that's good.
CCG play your promo tournaments. Yeah, we won't subject you guys to this. So that may be news to you as well, Clarice, as well as news.
Yeah, yeah. No, before you dragged me in here, we were just talking about. They're like, "Yo, what are we gonna do?" Because we literally have conflict, and then we also have school and stuff. So we have like everyone's like losing their mind about the schedule. So that's pretty
You're
good to hear.
You're good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
fine.
we didn't know promo tournament dates when we scheduled this tournament, but we will make it
Yeah.
work. So thank you very much, Clarice. I do want to give last word to you. Anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to say before we close out for the
Just shout out my team. I mean, they absolutely carry me every game one. Thanks, Sage, for subbing in for us, or Sage. I don't really know how it's said. And thanks for casting, guys. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks a bunch, Clarice. Great
Thank you.
talking to you. And thank you, everybody at home, for tuning on in for the broadcast. As I just said, we'll be off next week. So we will see you all in 2 weeks as we get into the best of 5 stage of the ACL. Saltmine already completed their stream as well with a Citadel loss. It is a Milk Esports whole milk win and move to the lower finals. Get excited for that one in a couple of weeks as well. Until then, thank you all once again for tuning in. For myself, TDS, and Caddy here on production. Shout out to Zen Market. Remember, that is code Aegis for 1,000 yen off your first international shipping fee, and Aegis25 for 25% off your first purchase. We'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Have a great night.
Bro, just use Zen Market.